Я подтверждение ситуации передаю на стройку. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's after 5.
Somewhere.
It's after 5 here.
Who you having?
A Yingling.
Full of brown water.
It's clear. Gin.
Vodka. Gin, huh?
Doing the gin, baby. Bombay Sapphire.
I'm very eloquent.
Smooth. It's really smooth.
So we're waiting on Marco.
Waiting on Marco.
Polo.
Marco is not texted back yet. So did you have another long-range course this weekend? Let's do this. Let's go ahead and start, and we'll talk
All
about
right.
that. You can tell us about your advanced class while we're waiting on Marco there. So
There we go.
all right,
Kinda.
lead heads, welcome back to another episode of the Talking Lead AK Corner. This is your August edition of the Talking Lead AK Corner, Season 5. And we have been bringing you all kinds of awesome information about those COMBLOC rifles, ammunition. And this episode, we're going to be talking about long-range or sniper rifles. And I brought the experts along to educate us, also known as leaducation. So you've probably been on just about every episode this season, haven't you, Paul?
Oh,
All
no,
but
I wasn't
one.
on last month.
Weren't you on last month? No, because you were doing your long-range class when we were, I think, recording last month.
No, last month I was doing the PFT training camp.
That's what it was.
Yeah, we were doing the Patriot Fire Team training camp out here.
Yeah,
So-
you were busy doing something. But
Yeah, we were doing training.
since then, you've had a couple of long-range rifle courses out there in the Utah or Wyoming where you're doing this?
Wyoming.
In Wyoming.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk a little bit about your advanced course that you just recently did. So, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Paul Markel, student of the gun, joining us this episode. There he is. You know him, you love him. And coming back for a second dose, I guess he didn't get enough from last week's episode. But we are glad to have him back. Ladies and gentlemen, Jared Johnson with STA Blades. Not to be confused with Greg.
That's right.
I'm never going to let you forget that.
I'm going to start calling you Righty if you start calling me Greg.
Start calling me Righty. I like that. So, Greg, with STA Blades, you guys go back to Jared.
Say
See,
Jared.
I said Greg again. See,
Yeah.
Jared with STA Blades. Make sure you go back to last week's episode, and we had an awesome discussion on Jared's methods and styles that he uses to make his blades. And we had a lot of good information on metals and heat treating, and we got into all kinds of interesting topics there. So for all you that are interested in blades, go back, check that episode out. And I think that's going to kick off a series of episodes that we're going to have dedicated to sharp, stabby, pointy, cutty things. So, Jared, welcome in.
Thank you very much.
Now, Jared, the reason that you're on this episode is that you also have a relative or relevant background to our subject matter. And we didn't talk much about it on the last episode that we had you on. But tell everybody a little bit about your particular expertise for this episode.
Okay. Yeah, I went in the Marine Corps, and I spent about 8.5 years in the Marine Corps, most of which I spent as a scout sniper, as what they were referred to in the Marine Corps. The scout sniper programs that I was in involved several schools, different training and things like that. Over the years, you don't just go through one school and then you're done. So there's multiple schools that you have to progress through. Special operations training group or some of the inner operations that we go through with other units like Navy SEALs and Force Reconnaissance Marines, getting us ready for deployments overseas, black side and green side missions and things like that. And that's kind of where all my precision rifle experience stemmed. And once I got out, I took a job in the firearms industry working for Leupold and Stevens, and I ran their military and law enforcement division for the Western states. And that's when I got into optics and things like that. When I realized I didn't know anything about optics, the military teaches you the very basics. You're not allowed to touch and take apart stuff. And so I got a good eye-opening experience into the world of optics. After working in the firearms industry for a while, I started working as a security contractor overseas with State Department contracts, as well as doing maritime anti-piracy operations, which is where I was utilized more as a designated marksman slash sniper. And that's where I actually got into using a lot of the COMBLOC type weapon systems actually on deployments and things like that versus just FAM fires and, OP4 exercises and things like that.
Nice. So how many years did you do the anti-piracy?
Probably about 5 or 6 years, maybe.
And would you go if they called you right now? Would you go on a mission?
If it gets me out of this Texas heat, I probably would. Yeah. It wasn't as glamorous and glorified as everybody thinks it is. We called it, Lance Corporal work for Colonel pay. So it was pretty good.
How many encounters did you have?
I don't know. I mean, we had several encounters, which, doesn't necessarily mean that, boats are sinking in the water or anything like that. But, it was a couple times. Let me
rephrase the questions. How many times did you get to fire your weapon?
We had one encounter that was a good one. That was probably the most memorable. But, it's not a lot of shooting. It's a lot of observing, and it's a lot of, reporting and preventive measures. If most of the time, if we do our jobs right, we don't have to get into a firefight or anything like that with the skiffs and things like that. The last ship I was on, the ship physically took rounds. That's one of those things. It doesn't happen very often, but that's why you have security on there.
Right. And which rifle were you carrying at that time?
I went away from sniper rifles if I could towards the end of my time. So I was probably running either like an M4 with like a 1-6 or a 1-4 power on it, or a FAL or something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah. How long ago was that?
Probably like 2015, maybe.
Gotcha. Almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Nearly 10 years ago. Well, very cool, very cool. So we'll talk more about your experience with these firearms.
Hey, Leadheads, Dwight Settle with Seal One. Just here to talk to you and tell you a little bit about our product. Seal One CLP Plus is a bio-based, non-toxic product. It comes in a paste, liquid, aerosol, and pre-saturated bore-specific patches called sealskins. They all do the same thing, just different methods of application. The best way to use our product is to start with a clean firearm. There's two reasons why I say that. First, you start with the Seal One CLP Plus by field stripping your firearm and covering the entire firearm inside and out, bore, barrel, everything with the Seal One CLP Plus. You'll see how easy it spreads around. You'll want to wait about 15 to 20 minutes. Then you come back and you want to wipe it all off. So you see how easy it is to put on and remove. And the second reason we say to use a clean firearm is you'll find that it's not clean. We're going to pull out more carbon that's been left behind with whatever product you've been using before. Okay, it takes about 3 cleanings. So I like to say a clean shoot, clean shoot, clean shoot. Just normal usage before the Seal One CLP Plus has removed whatever product that you were using before and has seasoned the firearm. It's kind of like breaking in a cast iron skillet. And after that first cleaning, you will notice a difference. And with each successive cleaning, you will find that it gets easier and easier to clean. Seal One CLP Plus is a dry lubricant and is designed to work as such. You will find that malfunctions are virtually eliminated when used properly, because the majority of all malfunctions are caused to carbon buildup. And with the Seal One CLP Plus, the carbon does not build up. Seal One CLP Plus is safe on all metals, plastics, composites, polymers, rubber, wood, and leather. Seal One CLP Plus is a one-and-done formulation. No other products are required or needed to clean and lubricate and protect your firearm. That's why we say seal one and done. Seal One is a proud sponsor of the Talking Lead podcast and the Leadhead Brigade. Use the code LEADHEAD for a 25% off discount.
We're actually killing a little time because we're waiting on Marco. Marco's supposed to be joining us. So
Hello.
Marco is MIA. But Paul, we did talk about one episode. I don't know which episode it was, but we did talk about the marksman long range course that you did, didn't we? The first one, the initial one? I thought we did.
I don't know. It wouldn't have been this year. It might have been last year.
Okay. So Paul's had a couple of long range courses that he has put on over the past month or so. So he did a basic and he did a advanced one this past weekend. So talk about the courses there that you put together there in Wyoming to teach long range shooting.
Yeah, we call it a high elevation precision rifle, or HEPR.
Oh,
it's a
excuse
cool
me.
acronym. What?
I said, oh, well, excuse me.
Yeah. Well, no, it's funny because I saw that actually written, and I was like, ooh, HEPR. Yeah, that sounds like a military acronym that you would use, the HEPR. But people ask, well, what's the difference? Well, the difference is bullets do different things at 7,300 feet than they do at sea level. And you can really cheat with rifle bullets when you get up high. You can stretch it out. Normal rifles that you might not be able to get to 1,000 just because of physics.
Yeah.
You can get to 1,000. We had a guy this weekend using a bolt action 308, and he was loaded with 175 grain bow tip hollow point, and we got him regularly whacking target at 1,400.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, you're probably not going to get that at 100 feet above sea level because the atmosphere is just too dense.
Yeah.
But at high elevation, and of course, when you get west of the Mississippi, especially when you get out here into the plains and the mountains, it's wide open. The opportunity to shoot 1,000 yards for most people who are citizens east of the Mississippi is pretty limited. Let's face it, most public ranges have a 100 or a 200 yard rifle range.
Yeah, you're lucky to get 200 around here.
Yeah, and if it's longer than that, it's fancy and it's a private range and stuff like that. So our range in Wyoming goes out to a mile. So we've got berms at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1,000, 1,400, and a mile. And we try and get people, we focus on the fundamentals, because if you can't, shoot an inch at 100, you're wasting your time at 1,000. You're just wasting ammo and time. So, we teach people, we have the goal of the class is to gain confidence in your skills and your equipment, and to get to know your equipment and to understand your equipment. And most people will zero a rifle at 100, and then they just do the holdover technique. Very, very few people will actually dial or work the elevation in their heads. And you can do that if you're in the East Coast, and you're going to take a 127 yard shot. But if you're going to take a 400 yard shot or a 600 yard shot, it's way better to dial than it is to guesstimate. And so we teach them how to do that, to work with their scopes, to actually figure out the elevation, figure out the dope, and dial to whatever. And, depending on what they bring, some people bring 223s. So there is a physical limitation to that. The people with 223 rifles aren't going to be shooting 1,000 yards. That's just the way it is.
How far were the people shooting in your class? How far were they going?
Well, we got people all the way out to a mile this year.
On 223?
Oh, no, not with 223s.
Yeah, how far were the 223 people going?
500 yards is easily doable if people know what they're doing. 600 yards is doable. 800 yards is actually doable. Trying to get the report back on an 800 yard steel target with a little 22 caliber bullet, even if it's 77 grain, is a little challenging. But we've got good spotters for stuff like that.
What kind of spotters are you using?
Oh, I've got a 120 millimeter spotting scope, so I can spot the moon if I need to.
What brand is that?
It is. It's an unobtainium.
An unobtainium, is it something you just rigged up yourself?
No,
You took a telescope and pieced it together and made
No, it's actually a really good scope that I got back in the olden days, like I said, when I was writing for Dead Tree magazines. And the company has since gone out of business. So,
Well, apparently it's a pretty good one if you still have it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The funny thing is I got it.
Because they quit printing magazines, about 100 years ago?
Something like that. Something like that. In '06, they
a lot of our listeners don't
printing
know what a
magazines.
magazine is. They think it's something you stick in a gun.
Yeah, it's like you put in a gun. It's not a clip. It's a magazine.
Yeah. Are you reading clips? What's wrong with you?
Yeah. So we've been doing the long range, the high elevation precision rifle now since 2017, and for the last couple of years, people were asking us if we would, the graduates, if we would do an advanced one. So we put an advanced one for the first time this year, and the prereq is to go through the basic class, and we get them on because obviously they've been there before, and generally they're pretty spun up. So the very first day, we get them on. We just confirm 100-yard dope, and then start dialing. And within the first 2 hours, the guys with the big rifles like 308s and the 6.5 Creedmoors and stuff like that, we had those guys on 1,000 in the first couple hours.
Oh, nice.
And then I do challenges. Not everything is a known distance target. What I'll do is I'll shift them over to the other side of the range where I've got camouflage. I got steel silhouettes that are out there and they're camouflaged and they're at unknown distances. So they got to find them. They got to locate them. They got to range estimate them with their brains. We don't let them use lasers. We make them, range estimate, and then
use references.
Use references. The football field reference,
landmarks,
stuff
things
like that.
Yeah.
And then dope to them and engage them. So. And I have them shoot from unusual shooting positions. I have them, we don't, there are a couple of times when I have them shoot from the bench, but the majority of the time they're either proned out, they're on a mat, or they're in some type of shooting position, like a modified kneeling or modified sitting or something like that.
Jared, don't call me Greg. If you got comments or want to say something, feel free. Just jump in. That's how we do it here.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's vetting me right now. He's like saying, let me see if I believe this guy. So, Jared, Marty didn't mention it, but there's 2 jarheads on the show right now. When did you go in?
1994.
Okay, I went in 87.
Nice.
He's a little older than you.
Yeah. So
said he's a little older than you.
Yeah, I am a little older.
Finally,
yeah. So I don't know if Marty knows what surveillance target acquisition is, but I'm assuming that's where the STA and your knives came from.
Yes, sir.
Look at Paul. Paul putting 2 and 2 together, baby.
Dude, I was there. I know the drill. I know the deal. Were you West Coast or East Coast?
I was West Coast. I spent most of my time in 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines.
Okay, I was a 6th Marine, so you didn't spend any time at Stone Bay or Lejeune or anything like that. Okay.
No.
They got that lawsuit for Lejeune. If you're ever stationed at Camp Lejeune, there's a class action suit.
If you were stationed there up to 1987.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. I've been getting the letters. I was there for infantry school in 87. That's the only time I was on Geiger for infantry school.
I got you.
But I've been getting the letters for 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. I've been getting the letters. If you drank the water.
So, it was the water. That's what it was. I was trying to remember what it was, but it was the water.
Yeah, fuel leaked into the water supply, and surprise.
Yeah, that's going to make your insides not so healthy over the years.
Yeah. Shocking. Well, it's because every base is on land that no one else would have wanted. So the government picked it up for $5. Like Paris Island's a swamp. 29 Palms is a desert. It's a high desert where nobody wants to be.
Yeah.
Lejeune is mostly swamp, marsh, crappy place,
I think Camp Pendleton's the only exception to that because I'd take
probably the only one, The Army has some fancy bases, but most of the normal Army posts, like Fort Sill,
right.
No one wants to be there.
they have better international bases like Germany and Italy and all this stuff,
Yeah.
Around the world.
Yeah. So did you spend any time in Okinawa?
No.
No. Yeah, we pretty much gave up on Okinawa when the global war, the global failure on terrorism started. So we're like, we don't need to go there anymore. That's where I was. I was Okinawa I was at CTA doing jungle warfare when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait. We came out of the jungle, and they're like, "All right, here's the deal: jungle warfare is off, desert warfare is on."
Everything you just learned does not apply. Learn quick. We're going back to Vietnam handbooks.
Well,
we're away from Vietnam handbooks, and we're going back to old school handbooks.
We're going to the North African. We're going to go to the North African plan.
Start reading up on the French Foreign Legion tactics quick.
Yeah. Well, we actually had been there. We did CAX in February of 90.
Right.
So we did CAX in February of 90, and then 6 months later we deployed to Okinawa. And I remember being in CAX doing the. I'm sure you did a CAX, right?
Yeah.
So you do the 30-day CAX, and you're out there. And I remember doing the 3-day war, the big hoo-ha at the end.
Right.
Just laying there in the desert, behind some rocks, staring out at miles and miles of open territory. Right. And I said to the dude next to me, I was like, dude, if we ever go to war, I hope it's not in the desert because there's no place to hide. And what do you know? Exactly 12 months later, I was laying in the desert, staring out across there. I was 0351 anti-tank assault.
Yeah.
So let's do this, guys. So I just tried calling Marco. He didn't answer, so he's MIA. Don't know what's going on. Hope he's okay. But let's go ahead and get started with the main.
I thought we did get started.
You did get started. You guys were telling some great war stories there. But that's not why people are tuning in. They want to learn more about some of the COMBLOC sniper rifles. And
we're screwed now because Marco's our expert.
I know. So we're going to have to wing this.
To talk about stuff that's knowledgeable now.
I'm going to have to rely a lot on Wikipedia.
I think I faked my resume to get on here because you told me there was going to be a Spetsnaz dude on here. So I figured I wasn't going to have to talk much.
I was going to tell him that Nick Orr featured or mentioned him in the new book, man.
I know. That would have been awesome. New book. So Nick Orr's got a new book out for you Nick Orr fans. Nicholas Orr.
So you fans of the Pipe Hitter's Guides, there's a brand new one. It just dropped today. The book just dropped today.
Today being August the 8th, as we're recording this. You're not going to hear it till the 15th. Our listeners won't.
Well, all right.
So it's available.
It's out.
You can go to Student of the Gun. You can go to Amazon.
Well, yeah, Amazon paperback and Kindle. Student of the Gun doesn't.
Do you want to read the passage that mentions him, or do you want to surprise people with it?
Yeah, I'll read it right here. It's page 52. It says, "Those with a sincere hunger for AK history and knowledge should consider the book AK-47 Survival and Evolution of the World's Most Prolific Gun by Marco Vorobiev." Marco Vorobiev. Is it Vorobiev?
I call him Vorobiev. But
Marco Vorobiev is a former Soviet Spetsnaz soldier, a talented gunmaker, and a noted expert on all things AK. So that's from the Pipe Hitter's Guide to Small Arms and Weapons by Nicholas Orr. Available now on Amazon as paperback or a Kindle version.
So that's not
There's even a section in here on AKMs and AK-47s.
That's not a fiction book. That's a nonfiction book.
It's a nonfiction book.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of his work is part of the fiction.
Part of the Pipe Hitter series. Yeah, it's part of the Pipe Hitter series.
Okay. There you go.
Books. And there's a
fresh outlet head. So go check that out. Get your copy today. Who's doing the audio version of that?
That would be no one.
Right. It's like whoever reads it. That's the audio version, right?
Yeah.
Whoever buys it and reads it out loud.
Just talk out, speak out, read out loud. If you want an audio version, pick up the book and read out loud.
So what justifies a sniper rifle? What makes a sniper rifle, would you guys say? And we'll start with Jared.
Okay. Well, the Marine Corps defines a sniper as a Marine highly skilled in fieldcraft and marksmanship, who delivers long-range precision fire on selected targets from concealed positions in support of combat operations. So if that's what a sniper is, a sniper rifle should be something that is accurate enough to support that. And basically, the two weapon systems that we had in the sniper platoons were the M40 sniper rifle and the M82, which is now the M107, the Barrett 50 cal, which was designated as a SASR, which is a special application scoped rifle, contrary to what people think. It's the semi-automatic sniper rifle, but the Barrett did not shoot a minute of angle. It was not a minute of angle gun. So it was not classified as a sniper rifle. So to me, a sniper rifle is something that can shoot a minute of angle or better and actually hold that, like Paul said, out to, 800 meters or whatever kind of the realistic capability of that caliber and that weapon system. So if you don't have a minute of angle rifle, it's not necessarily going to be the best sniper rifle.
Okay. Paul, what would your definition be?
Well, if you look throughout history, if you don't just use the Marine Corps definition, any rifle in the hands of a skilled rifleman can be a sniper rifle. I mean, they didn't call them snipers, but they were snipers in the Revolutionary War.
Marksmen?
They call them designated marksmen or designated riflemen. They had special rifle platoons because the standard issue was a musket, because you could load muskets fast because they didn't have rifling. So you could just dump the powder, boom, 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 and you get 3 shots off in a minute. Whereas a rifle, you have to hustle to get 1 shot off in a minute. But yeah, there were. I was just reading about the Battle of Cowpens today, and how the field commander, specifically sent out his riflemen and told them when you see the officers, take them out, and that's exactly what they did. So they were functioning as snipers. I mean, we had snipers and of course the weaponry at the time supported that, because that was the best thing they had, like a Kentucky long rifle. In the American Civil War, they had advanced the what they call the Minet, or the mini bullets, the mini balls, the Minet balls, with their Springfield muskets. Mm-hmm. They were actually working on glass back. They were working on very rudimentary scopes all the way back to the Civil War. But if you look at encounters such as the Troubles in Northern Ireland, does anybody remember the Troubles anymore? Nobody remembers.
Probably not. Yeah.
The IRA was using anything as a sniper gun. The IRA had snipers, and they were using iron-sighted guns. They were using hunting rifles. They were using anything they could get their hands on to just hide in Belfast or wherever in the surrounding areas. And now their sniper shots were 150 yards, or if they had a really good concealed position, 100 yards or 87 yards. So a sniper rifle, it can be anything, but if you're talking about, can I put 1 round on target, on demand, all the time, regardless of the circumstances, the better the gear, the better the equipment, the better the optics, the better you'll be able to do that. But look at the Russians. So let's talk. I mean, we can start talking if you want about the grandpappy of Soviet sniper rifles.
Well, we'll get into that, but we kind of want to do just a little background history of the sniper rifle itself. So I think you guys gave pretty good definitions there. Sniper rifle, high precision, long range. It needs to be accurate, reliable. Mobility is taken into consideration. Of course, the optics. And it's used for the uses like you guys pointed out, anti-personnel, anti-material, which would be more what that big old Barrett's used for, taking out vehicles and larger
gear,
mechanical objects.
Canteens.
So, and then of course I'm going through the Wikipedia here. The modern sniper rifle is a portable shoulder-fired rifle with either bolt or semi-automatic action. It's fitted with a telescopic sight for extreme accuracy and chambered for high ballistic performance. So that's kind of their definition of it. the history of sniper rifles. Where would you think sniper rifles kind of surfaced? You think it'd be around Civil War, before the Civil War, Revolutionary War?
Oh, before that, during the Rev War. Essentially, as soon as man figured out, you cut grooves into the barrel, and that'll make the ball spin, and we make the ball spin, it goes straight.
So the Whitworth rifle is arguably the first long-range sniper rifle in the world. It was designed in 1854 by Sir Joseph Whitworth, prominent British engineer. It used barrels with hexagonal, polyagonal riflings, which meant that the projectile did not have to bite into the rifling grooves as with conventional rifling. His rifle was far more accurate than the pattern 1853 Enfield, which, let me pull my screen up here as for our viewing audience. I can pull this up so they can see what I'm talking about here. So this is the Whitworth, and it's a muzzle loading. You were talking about the muzzle loaders earlier, Paul, how quickly they could do a non-rifled versus a rifled. This was a non-rifled according to their description of it.
And what year was this?
This was 1850 something. Let's see what it said. 1854 is when it was designed.
So it was just before the invention of the cartridge, the widespread use, because
Right.
we were using cartridge firing rifles in the Civil War.
Yeah, and it was used in the Civil War. If we go through here and read,
I don't think that sniper rifles were necessarily a thing in the Revolutionary War. I think we had marksmen and some sniper or marksman tactics, but the rifle was the rifle.
well, they
And
weren't
so
calling it a sniper rifle, at the time. And like Paul pointed out earlier, anything can really be a sniper rifle. It's just what its intended use is for. But the actual term sniper rifle didn't come until sometime later. They were called either riflemen or designated marksman or marksman.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you have cones of dispersion, right? So if your ammo only shoots this good, your rifle only shoots this good, your scope's only this good, and the shooter's only this good. The gun can only shoot so good when everything's perfect. So to say that any rifle in the hands of a sniper can be a sniper rifle, I don't necessarily agree, because I've had dozens of different types of weapon systems issued to me that I would never consider to be a good sniper rifle. Will it work? Like Paul said, in Ireland at 150 yards? Yes. Is it going to be something that you can make a first or second round hit at 600 yards, 800 yards with a limited exposed target? Probably not. So my definition of it is a little bit different, which is fine.
Sure.
Because I've been issued the junk guns that just don't shoot. If the gun doesn't shoot and the ammo doesn't shoot, it's not a precision weapon.
What was the name of? And they called him the White Death. It was the Finnish sniper in World War II.
Yes. The guy.
What was that dude's name?
The sniper, the Finnish guy?
Yeah.
I've got him right here.
He's famous. They called him the White Death.
This guy right here.
Yeah.
Simo Haya.
Yeah, Simo Haya. I believe that Simo Haya, if I'm correct, did he use a Nagant?
He used the Mosin Nagant, the one that the Finnish version of it.
The Finnish Nagant was a much more accurate weapon than the Russian Mosin.
Yeah, so he used the Seiko M2830 with iron sights, no less. And he had some unbelievable 505 confirmed kills against, I wish Marco was here, the Red Army.
Yeah. And if you break down the variables, okay, if he's got 500 kills, all right, we're talking about a war where first aid was almost non-existent. So most kill shots, or most shots that killed someone, might not have been considered a kill shot to today's standard. And how many shots did he take that were not hits because of the inaccuracy at distances because of that stuff? We know what he killed, but we don't know what he didn't kill, right? So there's so many variables in that And the only reason I'm saying that is because like I wouldn't jump on it just to say like that's a good sniper rifle because the dude had 500 kills.
Well, at the time, you know, they didn't have Barretts and all that, so this is probably, you know, top of the technology world there when they had this. So it was probably the best thing they had available at the time.
What I'm saying is a leg shot is a bleed out back then, right? So like maybe he was aiming for the chest and he hit him in the leg. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like the death toll. There's
I don't know, man. He's got 505 confirmed kills. I don't care how he got them. He got them. So
I understand that, but what I'm just
and look
saying
at the
is,
temperatures and things that he was dealing with too. You know, the adverse conditions and whatnot. So on March 40th, Haya was severely wounded in his left jaw by an armor-piercing bullet fired by the Red Army. After losing consciousness for several days, he awoke on March 13th, 1940. The day peace was officially declared between the two nations, with nearly half his face missing from the gunshot. He lived to the age of 96. Wow. And he was buried in Finland.
Harder than woodpecker lips.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. So that's one there, and that's something I want to talk about too. Our famous snipers throughout history. So we'll talk about them as we go through and talk about the rifles. But arguably, you know, they're saying that as far as sniper rifles go, this Whitworth rifle, you know, was presumably one of the first sniper rifles, I guess, made. And it was used in the Crimean War, and then it was later used in the American Civil War.
How many Crimean Wars have there been? There's probably been a bunch. They seem to have wars pretty frequently.
It was used in the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Confederate States of America, American Civil War, Australian Frontier Wars, and New Zealand Wars. There was 13,400 of those built. It's 49 inches long, had a barrel length of 33 inches.
13,400. That's barely a production run by today's standards. That's
Yeah.
crazy. So I want to know which one Tom Selleck used down under in Australia.
Oh, you talking about Quigley down under?
Yeah,
He was using a
you know,
Sharps Brothers.
That was like a 45-110 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't he say what it was, like 45-90 or 45-110 or something?
Yeah, it was. Was it a trapdoor? It was a trapdoor rifle with an exposed hammer. I think, if I'm doing it right.
Yeah, and he had the two.
It's been a while.
It had the flak trigger. He just donated it to like the NRA museum or something like that.
Oh, no kidding?
Yeah.
So it is Granville Stewart Sharp Model 1874 Creedmoor #1 rifle.
Oh, it's a Creedmoor.
Sold in 2020 for $51,750.
So what? Say that again.
This is
sold in when?
This isn't the Quigley down there, but it's one just like what he used. It's some big famous explorer used these. Granville Stewart. He was a real Western vigilante. Granville Stewart. Let's see if they can tell me what Quigley's was here. Here's the trailer for Quigley down there. That's a great movie, by the way.
Oh yeah, yeah, it is a great movie. It's a Western, but it's a Southern.
It's Australia.
About as Southern as you can get.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's a Southern Western.
The Model 1874. I mean, just tell me what I want. I type in Quigley Down Under rifle, and I get all this crap right here. Anyway.
Quigley Down Under caliber.
1874 Sharp rifle. Uberti USA replica rifles. I guess they make a replica.
Yeah, Uberti makes everything replica these days.
What's that? That firearms database that tells you everything about every.
Oh,
every
IMFDB.
Yeah, why is
Internet Movie Firearms Database.
Introducing our new belly band holster. Whether you're hitting the gym or running a quick errand, our belly band is one of the most comfortable and safest ways to carry your firearm. The center section allows you to carry most common pistols. Left or right-handed, this has you covered. A hard laminate trigger shield protects the firearm's trigger from unwanted intrusion, giving you ease of mind while carrying every day. 2 elastic sleeves give you the flexibility to carry other everyday items, such as spare mags, flashlight, knife, or pepper spray. 2 zippered pockets run on both sides, offering the option to carry smaller items such as money, cards, or keys. Flush fit on your lower back or waist, easily keeping your setup discreet no matter how you choose to carry. Utilizing 3D spacer mesh, these channels allow for exceptional and efficient airflow, giving you maximum comfort and keeping you cool. Carry whenever you want, how you want, with our new belly band holster. Available now.
Go to missionfirsttactical.com. Use the code LEADHEAD for an exclusive listener-only 20% discount. All right, so I'm going to quit sharing my screen there. And we got listener questions too. We're going to get to our listener questions. We might go to them sooner than we think, since we don't have.
What do we want to do? When do we want to get into the commie stuff, man?
We're going to get into it right now.
Well, I mean, it is talk. It's the AK Korner. Well, obviously the granddaddy is the the 9130 Sniper variant with the 3-power scope, and you've looked through. I'm assuming that Jared, you've looked through those reticles, the 3-line, the big fat 3 lines with the points.
Yeah,
like, put the thing.
Post.
Yeah, put the thing right in the thing, and if it's not zeroed, you just look through it and you turn it to where the impact is. You turn it to where the impact is.
So we kind of got into the Mosin. So the Mosin kind of leads up into the modern day. Well, not modern day, but the
current.
The SVD. I'm sure that's where you're headed with this, but the Mosin kind of kicked it all off for the Soviets and the Europeans there with
because they were using a serious 30 caliber cartridge
and the Mauser,
the 7.62x54 is a serious cartridge. It was basically the Russian 30-06 that came before the 30-06, so and what I think is fantastic is the fact that it's still in active use 100 years plus later. I think that is great. I don't. The only other cartridge we have right now that's that old is the 50 BMG that we use actively still right now. Yeah, well, no, I guess the 9mm, but okay. But so they moved into the Dragonovs, and I don't have any physical real world experience with the Dragonovs because I don't have that kind of ducats. I'll leave that one to you.
Yeah, the first time I dealt with the true Dragonov, which to me is the true Russian SVD, was when we do our familiarization fires on OP4 weapon systems. And I've owned a Tigr Dragonov. I regret selling it, but
man, you had a Chi-Com version, and
it was a stupid mistake on my part. But anyways, the thing that I always appreciated about the Dragonov was that it was like the first military semi-automatic weapon that they wanted to design as a sniper rifle. So they didn't take an M1 Grand and throw a scope on it and call it the M1 Grand D, and it's the M1 Grand Sniper. They built this as a dedicated semi-automatic military sniper. It's based off the AK-47 or AK platform, and everything about it was the stock is short. It's non-adjustable. At least it had an adjustable type cheek piece. The magazines were made out of steel. They rusted really fast along with the receivers. They had to be maintained. The optic system, when you look through a U.S. military sniper system and then you get behind a Dragonov, there's absolutely unequivocally no comparison. But the heritage, the lineage, where this thing was developed, and everything that's been built to this day was derived off of a Dragonov. Whether it's a direct impingement system or a gas piston system, the Dragonov was truly the first military designed semi-automatic sniper rifle.
So the SVD was designed to serve a squad support role to provide precise long-range engagement capabilities to ordinary troops following the Warsaw Pact adoption of the 7.62 by 39 millimeter cartridge and assault rifles. as standard infantry weapon systems. At the time, NATO used battle rifles chambered in the 7.62 by 5.1 as standard infantry weapons and had not yet adopted an intermediate cartridge and assault rifle of their own, allowing them to outrange their Warsaw Pact counterparts. The SVD was developed between 1958 and 1963 and selected as the winner of a contest that included 3 competing groups of designers led by Sergei Simonov, Alexander Konstantinov, this is why I need Marco on here, and Yevgeny Dragonov. Speaking of, there's Marco.
Speaking of that Soviet devil.
All right, you hear us? You hear us?
Do you guys hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine. Yep.
Excellent.
So you know Paul, Professor Paul.
Yes. Yes.
So our newbie, this is Jared Johnson.
Hey, Jared.
Hello, Marco. Nice to meet you.
Jared's
Nice to meet you,
8
sir.
years in the USMC, and he also owns a knife company now called STA Blades. Anything else you want to add to that, Jared?
No, that's pretty much my whole life story right there. So you got it down.
No, he was also he did some contracting work for ships as a anti-pirate crew, anti-piracy.
He was a bodyguard for Captain Stubing.
Captain
Yes.
Stubing. The Love Boat.
That was for the older folks in the audience.
I wish I would have killed for that job.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you guys want to have some fun on the Paramount app network? They have all the Love Boat episodes that they ever filmed starting like in 76, 77. That is it's like a freaking time machine. You go back and watch these 1977.
You know what I like
episodes
about
of
watching
Love
shows
Boat.
like that is like the guest celebrities that they would have on.
Yes.
All the hot
Yes,
people
the
at
guest-
the time would.
Or just the dude working in the background that you recognize that's an A-list actor now.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love going
and
back
the
and
ones that
watching
would
those.
come on there multiple times, but they would do them like they would appear in season 1, and then they come back in season 3 as a completely
Somebody
different character.
different. Yeah. Somebody completely different.
Completely different character.
And they
You're just
expect you
supposed
not
forget.
to
They're like,
notice that.
they're like, just you forgot you saw them. Don't worry about it.
That was last season.
The writers are like, they'll never remember.
I love
Any
that.
hooser.
All right, so here's what we're
Marco
gonna
left.
here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna catch Marco up on where we're at. As soon as he gets his toys out of his closet, Marco's bringing the goods out.
Well, that's good because Jared's got my PSL.
You can get it back from him.
No, he's got it over there. And I told him, I said,
You got yours, Jared.
I should have that gun.
Jared's got
The other Jared. Has
No, my son Jared has the PSL.
I thought you were referring to the one right behind me. So I was
Oh no, I didn't see that one there, but yeah, Jared has my PSL in Salt Lake City right now.
I got you.
The one that we were shooting this weekend out there.
Yeah. All right, you ready,
Sorry.
Marco?
Yes, I am. I'm sorry again. I apologize to everyone.
That's fine. We've been needing you. So we kind of talked a little bit about what everybody's definition of what a sniper and what a sniper rifle is. Everybody kind of gave their definition on that. Why don't you give yours?
Okay, so a sniper is highly skilled, designated shooter that would be deployed to complete a certain mission that the regular infantryman cannot do. The concept of a sniper has changed. A sniper and what the sniper mission is changed back and forth several times.
Kind of evolved.
Evolved, yeah, from let's say one shot, one kill to many shots, many kills, which is more of a more modern warfare application. And so obviously one shot, one kill, it's in the way of like a police sniping in the hostage situation. where you take a high, you take a target possibly with minimal collateral damage, for which you require an exceptionally accurate rifle.
Right.
And it usually boils down to one, possibly two shots. Whereas as your infantry sniper, which we saw, or we didn't see, but we read and know about the things from the people who actually been there and done that, from World War II, where the frontline snipers had a dual role as well, which is the, offense and defense.
Mm-hmm.
And in both cases, especially in defensive application, the sniper's role was many shots, many kills, and thus the weapon should have accommodated that. In the offensive role, it would have been more precise fire, such as taking high-value targets while your unit is being advanced. Is being advancing, I guess, on the enemy. And so, therefore, pockets of resistance, crew-manned weapons, machine guns, and things like that. So that would be the sniper mission. Now, there was never, and so, therefore, it's sort of like a COMBLOC versus the NATO type of applications that would cheat from each other, like, see what the other party is doing and then go and change their sniper tactics.
Yeah.
Such as like in Vietnam War, the Soviets saw a sniper pair team that goes with a scout sniper and a spotter, and it's a bolt gun, precise. So they went and start developing the bolt guns, whereas the Americans saw the Soviet semi-automatic rifle application in Afghanistan were deployed with great success. And then in the later days, they tried to bring out M1As and convert them into, I guess it's an M21s, or to make the 308, AR-10s. The more semi-automatic as they fought insurgency in both in Iraq and Afghanistan. So it basically, I guess if I had to summarize what I just blubbered on for about 5 minutes, like a famous Russian, the Mrs. Death or whatever, Miss Death, Ludmila Pavlichenko.
I'm so glad you said that name instead of me trying to say that one.
She wasn't the most highly produced sniper. I think she had 327 kills. Mr. Aklopkov had
309 is what this says.
309.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Aklopkov had over 500 kills. But anyway, she had at her disposal two rifles. She had I guess I should have brought them, huh? I have them both. But anyway, SVT 40 and Mosin Nagant 9130 PU. So she would go in her hunt in offensive kind of application. She would go out and hunt the VIP targets with her Mosin Nagant as more precise rifle that also fired the heavy round, 200 grain bullet. And in the defensive application, set back in the hideout, she would be firing out of SVT 40. And most of her kills were actually recorded with the SVT 40 semi-automatic rifle. So two different philosophies, and somehow they merge, or somehow they kind of marry each other in the modern warfare. But that's pretty much it. There's no such thing in like a Soviet military where it was a DMR person. Because sniper was a part of the unit, deployed within the unit, if there's something that needs to be reached out and touched by someone, that would be that guy. So he would be, apart from his regular sniper duty, he would be also a gunfighter as a DMR, which obviously the SVD Dragonov rifle would allow them to do so.
Right, but the SVD came along way after the Mosin.
Well, it came in 1963, yes.
Right, 1960. And the Mosin, it was developed in the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Well, the Mosin Nagant rifle was adopted by Tsarist Russia back in what it suggests, right? It's a 9130, right? In 1891, with the adoption of a new cartridge as well, which is a 7.62 by 54. It's got to be the longest lived cartridge ever produced because it's still at the battlefield today.
Right. Yeah, still
and
using
the
it today.
new types of weapons are produced to fire that particular cartridge. And it's it's dilapidated in its design, but it's with the rim and stuff. But they were able to make the guns that function with it flawlessly, such as PKM machine gun, for example, right? But yeah, a good round.
I love that cartridge.
Me too.
I'm a geek for that cartridge. People, and 10 years ago when they were giving it away, I was like, yes, give me more. I'll take more of that.
That's right. We train our OTC, and we do the standard weapons, like anything from M2 or 3 grenade launchers to the Madus, right, mounted on the Humvee, and anything in between from Soul, M60, M240, of course, M4s and whatnot. And then we have not a section with non-standard weapons, which is we have everything from the Bison Vites, 9mm AK to PKM. And back in the day when we first started, that ammo was like, I mean, you can buy it, I don't know, what was like 20 cents a round or something.
Yeah.
Now
it was cheap. It was like 15 to 20 cents a shot.
Yeah, now I kind of like, ugh. But Army does, although we're in the Army schedule, but they don't give us the ammo, and of course they don't have non-standard ammo anyway. So we have to provide it for free of cost for them. And I buy it as much as I can, is what I'm saying. And it hurts every time I reach out for the credit card.
You should be getting a deal on that now. You're importing ammo.
What's that? Oh yeah. Well, I'm doing just a 7.62 by 39.
Broaden your horizons. Come on, Marco.
505 coming in September. 12 containers a year. 1.5 million per container. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been getting flooded with emails. People trying to get in touch with you. There's like, where's Marco's website where I can get in touch with him on this?
Quite honestly, we've been
Marco
live
doesn't
right
have
now.
a website.
Are we live right now?
Yeah, we're live right now. I mean, we're not live, but we're recording. Yeah.
Right. So
don't tell secrets.
Yeah, don't tell secrets yet. Tell us off air.
Yeah. Basically, I don't like to be famous. Let's put it that way. I also don't like to take credit for any things, and unless I'm involved, of course, and I'm doing.
If you're going to sell
secret.
stuff, you need to do that. Same thing with
you want to sell books,
suppressors, books, ammo. I mean, you're teasing everybody with all this stuff you've got going on, but yet nobody knows where to get it. Come on, Marco.
I suppose I can. If somebody can get if they want to get a hold of me, why don't they contact you, and then you can give them my email address.
I can do, and I know a good company, Marco, that can help you with a website. So I'll hook you up. I'll do an introduction. I'll introduce you.
Attention business owners. Are you ready to take your marketing game to the next level? Look no further than Black Tie Digital Marketing, the firearm-friendly, full-service agency that delivers results. We've worked with industry giants like Kel-Tec, Spikes Tactical, and Armalite, and we even designed the Kickass new logo at Talking Lead. At Black Tie, we blend creativity and data-driven strategies to ensure your message hits the mark every time. From high-end custom websites, graphic design, to inbound marketing campaigns, and everything in between, we've got you covered. Your success is our priority. Join the ranks of the industry's top players and give your business the boost it deserves. Experience the power of Black Tie today. Visit blacktieDigital.com or call 1-800-316-8030 to schedule your free consultation. That's Black Tie Digital Marketing, where firepower meets marketing power. Black Tie Digital Marketing is a proud sponsor of the Talking Lead podcast and the Leadhead Brigade.
So I guess what, natural progression, we're not going to go like all the way back to the beginning of sniper rifles, but we did touch on the one that is arguably, what's being considered the very first sniper rifle, Marco, we talked about is the Whitworth rifle. It was a percussion muzzle loading rifle. You familiar with it?
Yeah.
So we touched on that a little bit, and then Paul was getting antsy, and he wanted to go ahead and get into the COMBLOC stuff. So the Mosin, we kind of talked about the Mosin a little bit there, as far as one of the earlier.
Well, you can't go into COMBLOC sniper rifles fully without going through a history of sniping and sniper application and different philosophies behind the sniping and stuff. And right. Soviets, we like to think that here in the U.S. we like the ahead of the entire planet and everything we do. And we don't like to recognize that if some other country, be it Burkina Faso or whatever, or Russia, actually did something good and ahead of America. So in sniping Russia during World War II, also I think we discussed that before the subject when we started talking about all this fascination with like the Nazi weapons.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
all the German stuff.
The freaking Mauser's the greatest freaking bolt gun. Well, I would argue that the Lee Enfield was probably a better bolt gun.
Absolutely.
By far, right? So,
Absolutely.
it's a smoother action. It's a 10 freaking round detachable magazine, although sometimes they didn't fit, but you could fiddle with it. And then, and also stripper clip loadable. And so we talk about pistols and stuff. Luger, Luger. There's a reason why they stopped making them and they just went into, or just give them the little bit of contracts to make those, but switched heavily towards the P38 Walters, which by far was a better gun. And then the best gun wasn't even German. It was Belgian high power. And then of course we're talking about 1911, which had unbelievable long service life, and it still is one of the. It's sort of like a measurement to go by when you talk about semi-automatic pistols. So again, Germany goes right by.
Yeah.
Then semi-automatic guns. It came up with Gewehr 41 piece of shit that weighs like a freaking M240. Crew. You needed two people to carry that freaking thing. And then of course they tried to copy the SVT 40 with their G43 gun, which looked like some Pakistani Khyber Pass gunsmith made it. So you start talking about it like best tank. Oh, Tigr. Tigers didn't show up until 1943, and then even then there were Royal Tigers. Tigers out of about 17, 18 they made. They couldn't even make it to the front lines. They broke down, right?
The tanks.
So yeah. And then so on and so on and so on and so on. Maybe U-boats, right? U-boats maybe for them, but you don't fight U-boats in the Kursk Bulge with U-boats. You don't go down. You don't sail down the Volga River with the U-boats. But the USP 59. Mustang or whatever was by far better than any of them, Focke-Wulfs and Mr. Schmidts all put together, and so on and so on. So this myth that the Germans had like the best everything, and you would think that, they probably, because Carl Zeiss is German, and they probably had the best freaking sniper rifle. Well, guess what? They didn't. Those weren't even special rifles. They just thought that ammunition and a regular K98 Mauser was good enough for sniping, and then they put some freaking scope on it, right? Which is like, if I'm not mistaken, the very first one was 1.5 power.
Yeah,
where they
weren't very powerful.
The rear sight, like a scout type scope, and then they put some 3-power scope that didn't have adjustment, didn't have a windage adjustment. It just had elevation, and here's like a poor Russian guys that just stop plowing the field, goes and makes a freaking PU scope, or before that PE scope, with 2 turret adjustments, with the BDC built into it for a specific gun, with a great success. And it's small, and it could be mounted anywhere. And all of a sudden they come out not with 1, but 2 legitimate sniper rifles that they employed with great success during World War II. So hands down, if you take all the sniper rifles, that side-mounted freaking Japanese Arisaka that you couldn't adjust at all, and it had to be done in the factory. American effort, yeah. Springfield 1903 is excellent rifle. It's a great rifle, and but the optics again was not there present, so you didn't have the windage adjustment, and I believe on some of the scopes the elevation adjustment was outside, outer. It's not a built-in into radical, so which changes the parallax and all kind of shit. So Brits, yeah, behind, great gun, terrible scope. And the same goes for the Germans, saying, no, it's good enough. We just learned, I guess, how to shoot this good enough gun. And, you can throw rotten apples and tomatoes at me, but I'm just going to go ahead and say that during World War II, Soviets had the best sniping solution.
With
both
their
semi-automatic and the bolt gun. Although
with the Dragonov?
most of the guns, no, they were to SVT Tokarev.
The SVT's Tokarev.
And initially, Tokarevs were all going to be sort of like a German approach, right? All the rifles could be sniper rifles. But then they quickly found out that the Tokarev in mass shoots like it doesn't shoot like blunderbuss, but it wasn't a 2 even MOA rifle if you didn't take didn't pay certain attention to it. Meaning, like with Mosin Nagants, once they shot the initial gun or barrels, tested the barrels, all the best barrels were set aside and sent to a specific shop, which each rifle was assembled by hand and tested. And you got the accuracy out of those PU snipers. Whereas they started doing that with Tokarev, and then they took a couple operations out of machining those grooves on the receiver and the little notch in the top of the receiver, and they just issue them as the infantry rifles. But the ones with the how you can tell a Tokarev if it was a sniper rifle or not, it had a serial number engraved on the bolt, because when they would bring them in for service, they can't need to swap they need to keep that gun together as whole with matching everything. And then, of course, obviously the grooves and stuff. So that was your sniper rifle, and how they went in and they deployed them with the great success, with the legitimate multiple kills during the engagements. Now, the beauty of semi-automatic rifle, and Tokarev, to be precise, was the fact that it was a 10-round detachable magazine that you could carry. You could carry with you numerous of those magazines in the pouches and stuff or whatever. So it would be, in case, let's say, your position was uncovered and you were being under assault, you could defend yourself with semi-automatic rifle by removing the scope, which was pretty fast. You can pull the key out of it, and then it would slide right out, and it becomes regular infantry rifle, capable rifle. And also, because of the PU scope, you could still use the stripper clips to reload your magazines through the top. So definitely in that department, but as far as accuracy is concerned, obviously it was lacking. compared to Mosin Nagant.
And when was this put into service?
In 1940. But previous version of it was SVT 38 was just designed as an infantry rifle with the sniping capability. At the time in the late 30s, the Russian military was going to rearmament, and it was the idea was to give an infantry squad more firepower by equipping it with semi-automatic rifles.
Yeah.
And the rearmament was still going on when World War II started. And although if you look at the black and white pictures, and everybody's saying like, oh, the main gun was Mosin Nagant. And if you look at the pictures, especially assault, like in assault type operations with the Russian counteroffensive and stuff, all of the Marines, right, the naval infantry, all of them were armed with the Tokarev. Tokarev was one of the main SVT was one of the main battle rifles. It just, they made so many of them that in 1944 they stopped making them because they didn't need it. They were switching to, they knew that in about a year they're going to come up with intermediate cartridge guns. They had enough of them in the hands of infantry already. They were heavily, because they now were on offensive and were taking the cities and clearing the buildings. They needed more of a submachine guns like PPSHs and PPSs and whatnot. And the Mosin Nagant, they could put basically a farm field with a few machines in it and the tents, and they can start production on them. And they were, making a good number of those things. And so they stopped making them in 1944, the SVTs. But that rotten reputation for that somehow floating around in interwebs is completely and utterly undeserving. And whoever came up with that nonsense, I curse his eyes and may he die of gonorrhea and rotten hell.
Who's that?
Because whoever came up with the Russian soldiers would drop their SVTs and pick up Mosin Nagant. If you drop your gun that was issued and written into you like a Red Army soldier card, you'll be probably not executed, but definitely put in the penalty, what they call penance battalion.
Digging ditches.
You'll be, punished.
Yeah.
Big time. So nobody dropped their freaking gun and then picked up something else. Also, Russians are good giving their guns nicknames. Like AK Suchka or
Polly, Sally.
In this SVT, it sounded like in Russian it's pronounced SVT. It sounded like a girl's name Svetlana, right?
Yeah.
Sveta. So they call it Sveta or Svetochka, right? Like a endearing term. If the gun was so screwed up that everybody hated it, then why would they call it that endearing name? You know what I mean? Another thing is like...
What'd you call yours, Marco?
Russian Ivan could only know how to milk a freaking pig or something. It was so dumb. He couldn't freaking master the intelligence to comprehend freaking Tokarev rifle.
Yeah. Now, do either of you, Paul or Jared, do you have any experience with the SVT-40, the Tokarev?
I have a buddy that recently bought one, and I was extremely jealous that he did. I'm still waiting to go shoot it, but I think it's...
So you got access to one, so that's cool.
When you go shoot it, right, make sure you bring a lot of ammo, because that's the smoothest, easiest gun to shoot that does not kick like a freaking mule and you shoot all day. Really smooth shooting gun.
I thought that of the Dragonov, of the SVD, to be honest. I think the SVD is a very smooth shooting rifle.
Granted, but SVT is smoother.
Yeah.
If it works right. So you got to fiddle with the gas system.
Yeah.
So from the SVT 40.
Well, hang on. Let me.
Okay.
I'm not done with that yet.
Okay.
Because it has an implication as to how the guns were developed afterwards.
Gotcha.
And it's which way the semi-automatic guns would go, like AK way or something else way, right? Yeah. So SVT 40, if you look at it, and I don't know if you guys had a chance to kind of like just look at it and take it apart. It's a short stroke, short piston type gas system, and it takes no time to disassemble it. There's literally nothing to master on that gun. You take your handguards off, and there it is. Your gas system, your push rod, your reverse. The gas system is reversed, so the actual piston is fixed, and the cylinder goes around it. I'm sorry to show you this, but you know what I mean. So it goes like this instead around the fixed piston, as opposed to usually the fixed a gas chamber, and then the piston goes in and out.
Sure.
But by design and layout, this gun was about 20 years ahead of its time. Okay? So the Ivan who was just milking a pig or goat or whatever, you got to realize 1930s Soviet Union went through this thing called industrialization. So every little village had to have a freaking tractor and what they called a mechanized station. Trained people who could work on farm equipment. A lot of young people. They also had this thing called Doseaf and Asiveahim. That's a abbreviation of a voluntary society for helpers to the Army, Navy, and the Air Force. A lot of young people, students and high school students, sign up for it.
Yeah.
Where they learn how to shoot, jump out of airplane with parachutes, do the medical thing, and all this like combat stuff for young people.
Yeah. So kind of like the what's those American? What do we have in our schools? They used to have the
junior ROTC.
Yeah,
maybe?
junior ROTC. Yeah.
Yeah. And which would be a good parallel is Appleseed Project.
Appleseed Project. Okay. Yeah.
They teach them basic marksmanship.
Yeah.
Together with the
they're not jumping out of planes in that, but yeah.
No, but the shoot and then when we talk about guns, shooting mostly is But in any case, so majority of the Ivans who were milking the pigs in the fields that were pretty educated, And if you compare the gun to, let's say, M1 Garand that everybody just absolutely loves, right? I mean, it may be not even half less complicated. It's probably more like 70% less complicated.
Yeah.
And easier to maintain and operate. And
which some of those are still in service today. They're still using
the SVTs?
Yeah.
Seriously doubt it. But
according to Wikipedia, they are.
They are? Well,
of course, Wikipedia's never wrong, right?
One of them is in service with me, that's for sure.
There you go.
So, anyway, then we move on. So, past the World War II, huge body of knowledge using a sniper rifle, snipers in the combat application. Obviously, the Soviets look at it and saying they learned the lessons, and they say, yeah, Mosin Nagant is great, but if we face to face in battlefield, we need something that shoots every time you pull a trigger. And they start developing another semi-automatic rifle. But they approached it, again, fundamentally, just like Russians always do. Like they call it the shooting complex, which they came up, which included the ammo, a rifle, and the optic. All three things were developed together, and the guy that they tapped into was Yevgeny Dragonov, who was specializing on making a sporting, like a competition rifles at the time. And although now Olympic is boiled down to air rifles and 22s and the shotguns, the trap and skit and stuff. Back then, even biathlon in the Winter Olympics was actually the athletes competed with the combat rifles, like a full caliber rifles. And so the Yevgeny Dragonov was designing those competition guns, which were winning the world championships and so on and so on. And they tapped into them for development of this gun. And lo and behold, in 1963, the U.S. military adopts SVT 63.
Wait a minute, let me show you your screen. I've got it on my screen. All right, go ahead. So what are you showing us?
Dragonov Sniper. Right?
Okay, there it is.
So NPZ, not NPZ, I'm sorry, the Novosibirsk gauge manufacturing plant makes the scope. And a team of ammo designers developed the 7N1 sniper round based on the regular light bullet, light round 7.62x54R cartridge. I also have that behind me in that closet. I have crates of it, and the only way you can tell which one is which, because the packaging would have this, typical COMBLOC packaging, and it would say sniper, 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 sniper. Yeah. And then the tin itself would have a word sniper scan, right? And then the crate itself would have a word sniper scan. But the rifle, and I'm going to show you something. This is a 10-round group that I was shooting. I was testing the Elcon, which, by the way, is on this rifle. Elcon 1 to 3 to 9 swappable. It's a great alternative to the COMBLOC optics. This particular one has got the BDC for 7.62, which is the 308 round, which basically would match out to about 400 to 600, somewhere in there. The deviation would be minute, but it's a 9 power. It's quickly swappable without rotating anything, right? And then it's the reticle is semi-transparent, so you can place that reticle over a target and still see a target, so it's not blocking.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you the group I shot with this particular setup right here with 7N1.
Did you do that today? That's why you were late getting on the show? You were shooting these groups?
Okay, let's pretend that's what it was.
Okay.
And that's why I legitimately was late. But
sure.
Not trying to drain shit water, but,
We'll make it a pleasant lateness.
Hold on.
Are you poking holes in a paper right now, making your
groups?
Yes,
right now I'm just making sure that it looks good. So anyway, maybe I should keep on talking while I'm doing it. So anyway, and it came out. So whenever people say, like, I guess I need to back up a little bit. So the United States government for years had a standing order with the manufacturers here in the United States to manufacture and reverse engineer certain non-standard weapons, which would include AKM, AK-74, RPK, RPK-74, PKM, Deshka, 50 caliber machine gun, and SVD. And the manufacturers here, like Voltor, for example, obviously the AKM wasn't a problem, and there's several U.S.-made AKMs. 74 was a little bit more little bit more, I guess, they didn't quite grasp that one. And nobody embarked on SVD. And you would think, like, there's so many SVDs, just go ahead and reverse engineer it, right? But the problem is the SVD design goes to a molecular level on both the barrel and the receiver, to its metallurgy, the alloys, the certain way. So to take, and I will, once we start talking about the PSLs and the M76s, I will,
well, let's speed up our.
I just want to show you this right here. This says Mother Russia.
Okay.
No, that's not the picture I was going to show.
Nice anyway. Boobs. Was that Putin's
our
boobs?
Provider. Putin, yeah.
Putin and his boobs.
Our provider, it says.
Nice.
So come on. Oh, yeah. Okay. Here's the picture. So the first three is underneath is I was sighting it in. So when I installed it, I used the bulk ammo to sight it in. Once I made the correction, I put the 7N1 sniper round. And that circle right there is 1 inch.
At what distance?
100 meters.
100 meters?
That's 10 rounds in there.
Tilted a little bit. You're getting a reflection.
Before,
yeah, it was good.
Where you had it was good. Back.
Oh, I know what the camp, but my phone.
We saw it. Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great grid. And that's at 100 meters. How many shots is that?
10 of them in there, the entire magazine.
10 shots. Nice. Good shooting.
So it's not, and I kept on saying, like in different podcasts, right? I was saying that in many cases when people talk about accurate, not accurate, this rifle is accurate, this optic is not good, and rifle. The setup is usually has a more potential than it would outshoot a shooter.
Yeah, so you use the LCAN on that group? That was the optic you're using?
That's the LCAN. Yeah,
LCAN.
I did it for an article for Modern Optics for the COMBLOC snipers.
Yeah.
And I did it again a couple weeks after this because I had to reshoot the whole thing, and so I had Shepherd 1-9, and I had Hilux 1-9. I had Leopold 1.5 to 9. And I could not match that performance. I mean, the same performance with that optic. I mean, I came pretty close. It was pretty decent.
Yeah.
Better than the standard.
Paul, you got pictures of any of your groups?
I gotta mention this. It's, with me shooting, that is, because they're probably somebody who has got the PSO1 scope that is, professional with it and shoots much better than me. But anyway. So
well, if you put the time in on it, you're going to get good at it,
Yeah, absolutely. And then I always say that the difference between good and average shooter is the number of trigger pulls.
Yeah.
That's only this. But anyway, so the Soviets won that round, and right off the gate, they hit on a nice rifle. And I remember first time seeing it in the basic training, which I performed somewhat decent at with the AK-74, at a firing line, and I was kind of selected to go and try it out. So I looked at the scope for the first time, and if you've seen the PSO scope, right, that faint reticle, I couldn't find it. So it took a sergeant kick me in my steel pot like a couple times when I finally focused and found the thing. And that's basically I started my service with that as a sniper and training.
The PSO scope on the 74?
What's that?
The PSO scope on a 74?
No. They bring the greenhorns to a rifle range for the first time, and you fire like 3 single shots that they're supposed to score for you, and then you fire. They give you 6 rounds, and you're supposed to do 3 short bursts at the targets from 200 to 400 yards. Machine gun nest and the full size silhouette.
Right.
So I shot 27 out of possible shot 30 with the 3-round shots, and then single shots, and then I did the 3 bursts and knocked down 3 targets. And because I did that out of my, I guess, training platoon, the captain behind me said that, okay, great, go try something else. When I saw it, I thought it was the sexiest thing ever. I mean, long barrel with that muzzle device. I mean, look at this thing. And that scope right there is Belarusian scope. It's not a, it's a commercial.
It's not a PSO,
scope.
yeah.
Right. But, so I thought it was, look at that reticle. It's awesome. It's basically the granddad of all the reticles that we now have.
There's so much technology in that reticle. It's
yes,
crazy.
There is. And if you master it, you'd be, unstoppable in a way. But it's, so actually I have this SVDS right here, which is the full, this is holy grail, I guess, of all the collectors and stuff. I mean, there might be 6 of them in the country. This is the one that actually with the folding stock. The current issue with the VDV, with the airborne, and it does have a PSO1 on it.
Let's see that. Gun porn. Very nice. And how'd you acquire that? Luck?
Well, it took me about 7 years.
About 7 years. A lot of horse trading.
All kinds of shit.
A lot of pig milking.
Yeah, a lot of pig milk. But so
that's
anyway,
beautiful, man. That's nice. Is that the one you were shooting? That's not the one you were shooting.
No, I shot the full length. I could not repeat the same result with the short one. Although, if I would put PSOs on both of them and use the same ammo, they shoot identical.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure, given time behind the trigger and a smaller gun, I could probably come close. But it would take me longer to try it and stuff, and kind of get used to it. So anyway,
wait, Paul's got some experience with SVDs, right? Paul?
Me?
Yeah, you got some.
No, I don't have any experience with SVDs.
Oh yeah, you were saying you didn't have any experience with it. That's right.
No, the closest I ever got was back in the early '90s. I shot the Chinese version. A buddy of mine had one, and that just goes to my experience with that was I shot it, and it went bang.
Good point you brought up. Let's talk about the so-called Chinese version. All right, so we know Chinese copied a lot of shit, right? Some of it was licensed, like let's say early SKSs, right? And AK-47 Type 3s. We know them as a Polytech Legend and stuff. And we also know that they copied M1A, right? The M14. We know that they copied a bunch of other shit. Now, they did pretty close with it. They never got the license. By that time, they were already, sort of like, dissing the Soviets, and Soviets dissing them because they wouldn't give them the hydrogen bomb that Mao wanted. And so the Soviets says, well, F you, we're not going to sell you any more licenses and stuff. And the Chinese came up with their own version of the AKM, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Type 79.
Which they couldn't swap. The parts were not interchangeable, right? Now, all of you gun professionals, name a single Chinese gun that used the birch furniture, laminate furniture. Single one. SKS, anything.
They use laminate furniture?
Yeah, like the Soviet AKMs, for example.
I don't know.
None. You know why? Because birch does not grow down there in the quantities like it grows in Russia. And they don't possess the laminate technology, high pressure that the Russians have. Now, what so-called Russian Chinese SVD had on it?
For furniture?
Yeah.
I would assume they had some sort of wood.
Laminate, birch, wood. Laminate, birch, wood. So when I was talking to Mr. Gardetsky in Izhmash in 2001, I specifically asked him, where did Chinese get those guns? Oh, another thing. I challenge anyone to look at their, what they called NMDs or something, HN, whatever the designation, 86 it was. Find where it says made in China. It just says Narinko in some of them. Don't even say China. And then it says Narinko and sometimes says China. And if you look at it where they did it, it's in that milled divot. And you could see where the shiny enamel has been covered by made
Made in China?
No, it doesn't say made in China.
Narinko.
A matte finish.
Non-shiny black paint.
Yeah, like this.
Actually, on the other side, if you look at if you can find that on the other side.
Let's see.
But I went further. And if you look at your SVD, there would be all these little stamps, like quality stamps as it passed through the stages of manufacturing. Right there. See if you can enlarge it. But anyway,
that's what she said.
In that divot right there under a bolt, on the receiver, you would say either Narinko and nothing else, or it would say Narinko China. It would not say
made
in China. So then you go to so as the gun progresses through different stages of assembly and components manufacturing, there would be a quality control that would stamp every component, right? So there's all kinds of Russian letters on every Chinese gun everywhere, and every component, like K's and P's and things like that.
So you're getting a Russian one.
It is a Russian gun.
Yeah.
The only license part that on that gun that they gave it to Chinese as a license was a Novosibirsk optics plant that sold them a license to manufacture their own scopes.
Mm.
And even then they made them so identical to Russian except the ocular lens, And so anyway, so when I was talking to Mr. Gardetsky about I said, where did the Chinese SVDs come up from? So, and he kind of laughed and he says, look, we had the 3-stage. He says it's impossible to copy SVD. It's impossible, just you can't, unless you go into the metallurgical part of it and what it has to do with the barrel dynamics. This gun does not string. Okay, so your number 200 round will impact at the same spot as your number 2 round impacted. Okay, so we'll revisit that later when we talk about the COMBLOC snipers.
So who did they give license to make?
So in 1985, well, actually when Deng Xiaoping, I guess, came into power, they start to talk and become fuzzy again towards each other, the China. And the China, they wanted their own gun, and Russia at that time was not in a very good financial state, so they said, okay, fine. And the deal was the 3-stage deal where Russia would sell them so many guns that Chinese would buy. Then that stage 2 would be the Russians will set up what they call a screwdriver assembly out of the Russian components. Meanwhile, the actual full production plant will be being built, and then the 3rd stage is they hand over the entire technological package and documentation package to Chinese to produce their own.
Yeah.
And that happened in the early to mid 80s, and then we know that in 1985, China decided to go their own way.
Right.
So all they did was a bunch of assembled fully finished sterilized rifles, and then a bunch of parts in preparation for stage 2. And that's where the 308s come in. That Norinco, being a North China import company, thought it would have a greater success commercially if that gun was sold in the United States in 308 round, because it was widely used ammunition at the time.
Yeah, NATO.
So, but the majority of the componentry on that gun, other than the bolt, the barrel, were actually Russian components. And then those Chinese SVDs were Chinese as I am. And I did my DNA. I did the 23andMe. There's no Chinese in me.
There's no Chinese in you.
No. I'm trying to get out. So anyway, continue on. So Russia at the same time adopted not the squad, but platoon structure for use of a sniper. In the platoon, it was one sniper in the platoon, and the fire support role. And then they went into Afghanistan, right? And in 1979 on Christmas. And this was first time that the SVD was being used in all-out combat. And they quickly realized that one guy per infantry squad was not enough.
One designated marksman.
What's that?
One designated marksman wasn't enough.
It's not designated. It's a sniper with the sniper missions.
So they were snipers by this time.
Didn't have a designated marksman, because every infantry soldier was supposed to shoot their rifle straight. But if it was out of the range, and it was or it was something that is a machine gun nest or something, or a pocket of resistance, then they would have a sniper come out and
an HVT
and take care of it.
Yeah.
So, but let's reverse it before Afghanistan. So, Warsaw Pact, the countries that Eastern Bloc countries that went into it, made up the Warsaw Pact. Obviously, the main dick was the USSR in that thing. So whatever the USSR say, the Warsaw Pact had to do. But also, USSR did not want to just, here's the guns for you. They wanted to develop their defense industries in those countries like Romania,
Poland, Hungary, East Germany, Czechoslovakia, Bulgaria, Albania.
Correct. And some of them had established gun manufacturing, including the AKs and whatever other SKSs, pistols and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so the Romanians decided to produce their own PSL, right, which stands for Pushka Luneta Semi-Automatic or something like that, which means the rifle, scoped rifle semi-automatic. And they came up with the PSL.
Which is now what you have, Jared? You got the PSL there?
Right behind you, Jared.
Yes.
Maybe very similar in appearance to SVD Dragonov. And of course, many people in the U.S. call it a Dragonov, just on the basically because the stock looks like one.
Yeah.
But it's not. Okay, and that's what brings us to today's topic, is the AK snipers. So this is.
What do you mean? We're just now getting to our topic?
Yeah. Well, I'm
2 hours in.
I hope I'm not boring everybody.
Well, I will ask you to do this because of time. We do kind of need to speed it up a little bit.
Okay. All right. So.
You ain't going nowhere, Paul. Shut up.
I got to get going.
No, you don't.
I got to get going.
Did I use up your time too? Did you want to say something? I'll shut up.
Well, actually, I was waiting for you to come in because our buddy, he's might not be your buddy, but he's Marty and my buddy, Nicholas Orr, just released a new book today. It's called The Pipehitter's Guide to Small Arms. And in here, under the chapter on AKs, it says those with a sincere hunger for AK history and knowledge should consider the book, AK-47, Survival and Evolution of the World's Most Prolific Gun, written by Marco Vorobiev.
Vorobiev.
Yeah. Vorobiev. Mr. Vorobiev is a former Soviet Spetsnaz soldier, a talented gunmaker, and a noted expert on all things AK. So that plug is in this new book that was just released today.
I really appreciate it, and I hope to meet him sometime to thank him personally for this.
Well, there you go. So I'm
telling you, Marco,
let you know,
you are a rock star.
What is it available, Paul?
It's on Amazon right now. It dropped today. So it's called The Pipehitter's Guide to Small Arms and Weapons.
Nicholas Orr, right?
Yep, Nicholas Orr. It's the fourth book in the Pipe Hitter series.
In the two R's and Orr?
Two
ORR.
Yeah.
So
I'll get one.
I gotta go. I gotta go take care of the animals. But thank you very much for having me on.
All right, Paul. Appreciate you being on.
It's been a slice of heaven. Good to meet you,
as always.
I apologize for talking so much.
No, you're good. You're good. I appreciate it.
It's all gold.
I'll see you next time.
See you next time.
See you, Paul. So yes.
Okay.
So
we touched.
Maybe not so much details. Let's just kind of.
All right. So
yeah.
The biggest difference between, although the rifles, they're similar in appearance, but the biggest difference is one is the AK Sniper, based on AK. Maybe Jared wants to talk about it because he's got more experience. Well, I have experience with it, but he's got the rifle.
The PSL, I totally agree. By calling it a Dragonov is disrespectful, in my opinion. I think the PSL has many highlights to it. It's affordable, it's available, but it's nothing like a Dragonov when it's compared side by side, in my opinion.
And it shoots really well. It eats just about it. It inherited that AK reliability, and it eats just about everything that you feed through it. Of course, there was a rumor back then that, you don't shoot the heavy rounds through it. Bullshit. I shot a bunch of them through mine. Nothing happened. Nothing split or exploded or anything. That thing handled the heavy rounds. I shot, I think it's 200 grain extra rounds out from it. So it worked pretty good. So it's a capable gun in its own right that deserves to be treated as its own.
To me, it's a civilian sporting rifle more than it is a military rifle. It has a muzzle brake instead of a flash hider. It has the taller handguard, whereas the SVD has the slimmer stream. Everything about the Dragonov is very streamlined and not a lot of oddball parts hanging off the side and things like that.
And of course, we need to mention the operating system, right? Not the iOS or Windows, but I'm talking about the gas system. It's a long stroke piston system, which got like this regular bolt carrier assembly that's right out of AK and stuff, and the bolt, and so on and so on. So that it's not, even though some people say all the similar in appearance, but it's two different guns.
And the coating on the Dragonov is far superior to the coating on the bolt. The coating on the bolt of the SVD is far superior to the coating on the innards of the PSL. So the other representative of a AK Sniper group would be M76. Now, M76 is interesting in its existence, I guess. It's in appearance, because Soviets never sold any license to Yugoslavians except PKM. So which is to have, right, and so
and it was later because there was actually, although Yugoslavia was socialist country, but it was not a part of Warsaw Pact, and it was not under direct supervision of Soviet Union. In fact, they had their own system, their own way that they did things. And like I mentioned in the previous podcast, the way that they acquired their AKs was from Albanian border guards defecting, right? And the Yugoslavians finally getting their hands on the AKs, and then they went to one of the friendly country in Africa and bought 2,200 of those AKs and RPKs, and that's how they developed their own unique
reversed engineered them.
Right, but they also not just reverse engineered them in there. They beefed them up. They made them more like robust, heavier and stuff.
Yeah.
Implemented that the grenade launcher features on it, and so is M76 is derivative of their M70 assault rifle, I guess, or battle rifle. And of course, it's different, so it doesn't have that thumb-through sporting stock. It's more of like a pistol grip and stock separate. Mm-hmm. It's undeniable AK pedigree with the milled receiver and the controls. And another big thing about it was this gun came chambered in the 8mm Mauser, which Serbians or Yugoslavians knew and loved. Right, they made their M48 rifles, the Mauser copies and stuff, and they had a plant that manufactured that particular round. So I had a pleasure of comparing all three, and I written an article. It was called Three Sisters.
Three Sisters.
Right.
Oh.
And I compared the full-length SVD to PSL and the M76. And although I enjoyed my outing that time, shooting all three guns and hitting the targets and stuff, and it was, you could shoot them all day long because the rounds are not really it's not, the recoil is not overwhelming on account being semi-automatic guns and kind of heavy guns. But I also was supplied, I forgot who was the company, but they supplied me with 8mm Mauser sniping rounds.
Okay.
Yeah, I still have a couple boxes.
Those are hard to get, huh?
Right. And, but anyway, so all three guns, obviously the SVD had a tighter groups, no doubt about it. But I did not want to use this specifically sniper designated 7N1 cartridge in comparison with the, other guns. So I used the bulk ammunition, like 90s production, copper washed ammo. And of course the SVD outshot both of them. But the biggest difference between those guns were, I would say, the SVD that stood on their own, so to speak, apart from the other two, was that it was not stringing. The SVD did not string. This guy starts stringing on the round 6. Basically it starts, point of impact would drop. And the last round, the number 10 round, compared to round number 1 or 2, would have been about inch and a half lower.
Why do you think that is?
It's a dynamic at the barrel. The barrel, as it gets hotter, it starts, it starts to dip.
Loosens up. Yeah, it loosens up.
And it's not for a guy who is serving with this rifle as his main weapon, it's not a big deal if he knows what behavior of that rifle is.
Right.
Which he should as he goes to a range on many bases. Many times at the base and stuff. And he sees how rifle performs, and he can do the rapid fire, let's say, on his third magazine, round number let's say 23 or something, he would know where that would impact.
Right.
You know,
It goes
being
back
shot.
to the ethos of know your weapon,
Right. And the PSO style scope kind of good in that regard with the extra chevrons and stuff, or 100 meter, again 50 meter clicks. So you can adjust your impacts by adjusting elevation, or using a different chevron, or using the tip at the bottom of chevron, using the space in between, or something like this. So you can basically develop your own dope in as your rifle starts to behave differently.
Yeah.
So
One
that
of the
was
things
my
I
point.
appreciated with the M76 that they did was the last round bolt hold open. The concept was good, but it didn't. Once you take the magazine out to reload, the bolt would go forward, so it kind of defeated
The purpose.
But
Yeah.
at least you knew you were out of ammunition instead of getting on target, pressing the trigger, and committing to the shot and getting a click and no bang. But I appreciate what they tried to do, but they definitely did not perfect that.
All it was like a tiny little pin, spring-loaded pin, that the follower in the magazine would push up. You know what I mean? Part of the gun.
Exactly.
And yeah, I see what you mean. It's sort of like a lot of people now do the safety lever with the little cutout on the
Yes.
on the AKs.
Yeah, like the Krebs safety selector.
Right. I mean, other than going to DNR range and so you present your gun that it's empty, I don't see other purpose for it.
But the AK, the whole AK platform is unique in the fact that it's one of the only guns that has to be on fire when you load and make ready. Right?
Hey,
So every other gun, is on safe, but the AKs you have to be on fire to be able to put one in the actual chamber.
So don't keep it to you close to your vest, so to speak. I just was introduced to a gentleman.
Wait a minute.
Who's original?
Do I need to edit this out?
No.
Okay.
No. This is for the masses to hear,
Okay.
kind of, but just don't go crazy looking for it. It's not ready yet. So, gentleman is originally from Rhodesia, was educated in UK, lives here now, kind of teaches. I think it's in Colorado State as one of those major universities, and he developed a little add-on piece that doesn't require any permanent modification on AK. That would add the bolt hold open option to the regular AKs, and then you can take it out if you don't need it. He sent me a little brochure on it, but he just obtained the patent on it, but he hasn't gotten the actual patent, so he's being a little careful.
That's a pretty big advantage. Having a bolt hold open on an AK would be a big advantage especially for semi-automatic.
And think about the competition. Some of the guys run AKs in the gun competitions, and that would be huge. I was thinking he didn't. When I mentioned it to him, he didn't even know. He thought it was like some military application. And I said no, but the competition would be huge.
Yeah, they probably don't have a lot of the competitions in other countries.
And the thing is, it's got it's either you pull the bolt back and it snaps back, or there's a button there that you push and it would snap the bolt, or move the bolt forward. So that's coming out. So
nice.
I haven't covered the PSLs and the M76. I'm here to say that they are capable sniper rifles, definitely probably within the realm of a World War II SVT-40 rifle, which was designated as a sniper rifle. But there's one more.
But wait, there's more. What is it?
Yeah. If somebody would look at it and they say, it's a Dragonov. But, Iraqis, they had a close relationship with Serbians.
Mm-hmm.
And they have built Tabuk, which is kind of like in the modern setting, or using modern terminology, you can say it's a designated marksman rifle because it shoots 7.62 by 39.
The Tabuk?
But it's a scoped, right.
Yeah.
But then there was another one, Kadesiah. A lot of people call it Al-Kadesh, but it's Al-Kadesiah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at it, it's a freaking Dragonov, right? Unless you take a look, double take on it, and you see that it's got a stamped receiver with the bulged trunnion, just like M70 Serbian battle rifle.
And did you say this is Iraq, Iran? Who was this?
Iraq.
Okay. ALKADESIAH, based
Correct.
on the SVD and PSL. So the official Iraqi designation is either Al-Kadesiah or Al-Gadisiah.
So that particular gun, I think there's few of them floating around in the U.S. in collection. That particular gun, I mean,
Here's one.
It has a pedigree from both. It's sort of like from front tuning and up, and then from the rear tuning and back is SVD, but in like right smack down the middle, it's a freaking M70 Yugoslavian.
The magazine definitely gives it away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, it's got two things, right? It's got the sword on the left, and it's got a palm tree on the right, which is both of them elements of a state emblem of Iraq, or Saddam Hussein's Iraq.
Right. This was taken. The one I'm showing on the screen was taken from his personal collection. I think it's one of the gold-plated.
The interesting thing about it is most of the magazines are interchangeable with SVD.
But most of the innards are not, correct?
Oh, no. Most of the innards, no way. And again, I cannot speak for the barrel quality. The other thing that many people who have Tigers would appreciate that it had the removable flash hider. You can actually unscrew it. Which, obviously in SVD it's together with the front sight block.
Paul just texted me. He wants to give away one of his books as one of our giveaways today. So that book that he was just talking about, we're going to be giving away one of those today.
Okay.
The new Nick Orr book. Not his, but the new Nick Orr book. So, cool. Let's do you have any more to add to the PSL or M76, or is there something, maybe another European COMBLOC?
In modern times, people try to adopt the mullet Vapor rifles as kind of pseudo sniper and stuff, or pseudo accurized gun. They made various barrel lengths, and I had one, and I've written an article about it. I built it up. I had a AR style stock on it, and the modern handguards and things like that. Added the flash suppressor on it. Flash hider on it.
Yeah.
And put some modern optics on it with the regular side mount, and it's actually shot really well. But it wasn't like, wow, what a gun!
Which caliber was that using?
It was 7.62 by 54R, which was another thing. It was a polymer magazine would hold 5 rounds in it.
Yeah, just like their guns.
I spoke to, at the time, the chief designer for Mullet was this guy named Sergei Ozhumtsov. He's now head of a designer's bureau at Izhmash or Kalashnikov concern.
Yeah.
Nice guy, really good guy, really good engineer. Me and him kind of hit it off at the time. And I just asked him outright. I said, look, I got this long one. I am shooting it, and it's not really, what's the optimum length of the barrel? And I think the long one was 520 millimeters or whatever, 52 centimeters. Yeah, 520 millimeters.
So 24, 22 or 24
It's like
inches.
24 inches or something like that.
Right under.
Without hesitation, he said it's 459 millimeters. You know, their medium length.
Right.
And that would display the best characteristics. And so, again, it's based on RPK, so it has the bulged out trunnion, thicker steel on the receiver. And it could be dressed up. And I think when I was suggesting that, I said anything for the U.S., you should really dress it up like a Dragonov rifle to generate sales and spur the sales up. And they did come up with a gun that looked like that. So it was kind of nice looking rifle substitute for lack of SVDs and not ample number of PSLs available. But you could still, but immediately they went up high in price. But capable rifles.
What a PSL costs now? It's ridiculous.
PSL? Yeah, I know. We used to be $600. But now you can't touch them for, I don't know, $3,000 or something, or $3,500.
If we could get SVDMs into this country, people would go crazy. Because that's the modernized SVD that is in service, and that I love seeing because of the things that needed to be changed about the SVD. They changed it and added it, and it's a serious contender in 2023 for a military semi-automatic sniper.
I agree, but there's also another one made. It's called SVC, which is CH, which is even better. So it's the one that's famous video where Putin shoots the gun. He's got this like headphones, kind of weird. They use that video for the meme where Biden was tripping on the climbing the ladder. So every time Putin shoots and Biden trips and stuff. Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, they have a couple of those good rifles, semi-automatic rifles, available. Based on, again, that in SVC is also based on the Dragonov design. But to kind of continue moving along this story is the M91s that start coming in from Serbia, right? Which is modernized, and I believe they chambered in 308. A version of M76, but it's kind of shorter, more modern. And I'm not sure if it's a milled receiver. I think it's a stamped receiver, if I'm not mistaken. And those also kind of cost a pretty penny, you know. But yeah, there you have it. Your scoped sniper AKs.
What was the last one? I was trying to find.
I think it's either M91 or M93.
Okay.
Depending on the caliber, I think.
Here's the Tabuk. You were talking about the Tabuk earlier. Here's a picture of it. Let me bring that up. Boop.
Yeah, there you go. See, it's unmistakable Yugoslavian.
Yeah, the forend alone is but that looks
pistol grip.
But that looks 7.62, but that doesn't look. What caliber is that?
7.62 by 39.
I was going to say that's not.
So that's not. Yeah, if you were going to designate one of these rifles as a designated marksman rifle, DMR, that's it right here.
That'd be the Tabuk.
Yeah.
And what was the other one? I'm going to try to find it.
M91, Serbian M91 or M93, I think.
About what year was it made?
I mean, they currently bringing them in.
So this is they're more modern. So I need to go down here.
Yep.
There's an M24. And these are some from around the world. There's the M91 right here.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a Zastava.
Yeah, here it is. This is a Zastava M91. It's the more modern of the M76.
it's still pretty, like the SVDM is very much ahead of that on technology.
Oh yeah, this right here is just trying to capitalize on the looks of SVD, but still uses the M76 technology, so to speak. But I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the SVDM is a good gun, but that SV8 which is CH, SVCH. Look at that one. Maybe you can find it.
Let's see. PGMs. There's an M93. There's a SVU Dragonov. The bullpup, your favorite.
Yeah. But it has an application. The Russian National Guard, like internal affairs troops, like a National Guard, like militarized police force, they adopted those because they're shorter and they can go into buildings and things like that.
There's the SV98.
Yeah, 96.
No, this is it says 98.
Oh, 98, all right.
Yeah, it comes in 7.62 by 5.4R or 3.38.
Yeah, I shot it in 2001.
Okay.
And funny thing was, so we had it was David Forty and Mark Krebs and me shooting this gun, and I'm like this freaking sniper, right? And I don't think I score MOA. One MOA with that gun.
Oh yeah.
David was like within parameters, and Mark put all of his 10 rounds and could cover it with a quarter.
Oh really?
Yeah, Mark.
So
Krebs.
he dug it, huh?
And the company's name of that makes it
is
Smash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bolt. It's a bolt action.
It's a bolt gun.
Yeah.
It's a very capable gun. They were gonna see. It comes with the.
Aren't they trying to import these into the United States?
Yes, they did. They did back in. I want to say like late 90s. I would say like 99, maybe 2000, 2001. They brought in 2 shipments of them, and they were. First one was completely pre-sold for like $7,000 a piece.
Jeez.
And the other one was kind of like halfway sold, and halfway they had to sell it separately when they came here. And its commercial designation is Record. You know, name of this gun is Record.
It looks like a straight copy of an Accuracy International.
I was going to say exactly, Jared. So they were going after the Accuracy International with the green stock and all this.
Yeah, the thumb hole loop.
Yeah, the little round head and the polymer head and the bolt handle and stuff. The original, see, there's a little thingy sticking out under the barrel at the end of handguard. Yeah, right there. That's where their designated bipod was located, and then they would fold into the center of that handguard.
Yeah.
And now you see that they did away with it and using regular Harris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you look at the far behind on the background, that right there is the commercial version of it available in Russia for hunters and stuff, and that's what the Record is. That's the difference. But the ones that were brought into the U.S. and got put on the list for importation were called Record, but they came in with that green stock.
Yeah.
And it accepts original SVD magazines.
Interesting. Here's some down here. Are these the Rex you're talking about?
Well, that looks like a VEP or the
one above is a folding stock. It looks like a Sega, maybe.
Yeah.
That one? The top one?
You're right. Yeah.
And the one, can you zoom on that little written placard?
I don't think it's going to zoom in anymore.
Yeah. I don't know what that one is. Something else.
It's written in Russian. I can't read it.
Yeah, it's all commercial anyway.
Yeah. So these, the SV98s? Is that what these are?
Which ones? The green ones?
Yeah,
Yeah, those. There was the first attempt at a bolt type of action. Again, remember I was telling you how Russians and Americans look at each other and then copy the shit. Meaning not necessarily the rifles per se, but tactics.
Yeah.
And that was the attempt at one shot, one kill, like spotter sniper team, that kind of stuff. And they it wasn't a really a good one.
Yeah.
As far as it's not a modern, now fighting in Ukraine shows that you need the multiple hits out of a gun and a rapid succession. But anyway, Russia has this company called Orsis, and then they make a high, there you go, T-5000. Now that's all the special operations unit have designated sniper teams, armed with these guys.
But they have a civilian market too, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
But not too many people can afford this gun. I mean, even in Russia, it sells for about $5,000.
Are they based like out of Moscow area?
Yeah.
Exactly, right in Moscow.
I've met with them. Yeah.
So the Orsis T5000, it's a Russian bolt-action sniper rifle, first produced, developed by Orsis, and is produced in their Moscow factory. The rifle was introduced in 2011 at the International Exhibition of Russia Weapons in, say that name?
Nizhny Tagil.
And is
in Ural area.
It says entirely original, using no third-party components, according to General Director Dmitry, whatever his name is. Simozerov. As
There's another guy who is a long-distance shooting champion. His name is Labayev, and he started his company in the United Arab Emirates and then relocated back to Russia. He produces extremely accurized rifles as well that's being supplied to the Russian armed forces.
And as far as the Russian armed forces go, would you say that this Orsis T5000, this is their go-to, or no, not really? What?
No, it's a go-to for special operations only. It's not like Ivan who was just milking the pig in his barn will be issued that one. So it's for special operations for professional, snipers.
Which what are they using today, just as far as their unit sniper rifles? In
bulk, SVDs and SVDs. SVDs, for what I showed you, both of those rifles, they have limited numbers of SVDMs, like Jared was saying, and then they also have limited numbers of SVCH. That's chip. See if you can find that gun.
Orsis was trying to import into the United States, correct?
Yes. I had a Form 6 form.
I did security for a gentleman, and we went to Moscow and met with them because they were trying to import into the U.S. market. And I just remember being very, very high-end, expensive rifles.
Unbelievable. And, so I was telling them that it's uphill climb because you got Accuracy International, you got what's that other one also run by a British chap, Accurate Rifle or something like this, and then so many players in the marketplace, and they come in and say that I have something that is so much better. You're going to have to prove it somehow. And you can possibly do it, but it would require a certain amount of investment to do that. You got to produce the videos, you got to show some influencers or whatever that can actually verify. Maybe even have an athlete that you sponsor that would shoot long distance and participate in competition. And at that time they were so freaking proud of this thing. They thought that they just mere appearance in the U.S. market should just take. Everybody.
Is this SVDK? Is that the one?
No, that's the 9mm thing. It's just abomination.
It looks weird. What was the one you want me to try to find?
9.6mm cartridge, right?
Yeah, 9.3 by 64.
That only flies like 200 yards.
But look at that magazine. That looks like it would hold something bigger than a 9mm.
Well, Marco, the Russian forces did have an edge when it came to designing a weapon system for very close, fully suppressed, somewhat precision capability at 100 and 200 yards with the VSS, right? I hate you. I need to come visit you.
What's he doing? Let me switch the screen here.
Like this?
If that's 300 blackout, I'm gonna be mad at you. But if it's 9x39, I'll be okay.
9x39.
Good man.
So tell our viewers what you're holding up there, Marco.
It's called VSS Vintares.
And describe it.
Semi-automatic, and obviously I'm trying to get the components to build it into, give it original full auto capability. Yeah. And the difference between this one, just wait for it. He's going to his bag of tricks. And this one.
Oh my gosh. What's the difference?
So this is AS Wall, VAL. The difference is it's folding stock. This is more of like
keep it up.
That's a Cobra. They call it the Cobra sight or something like that.
Yeah, the original one. Yep. Yeah. So this is more of like an assault gun, meaning the other one is more like a close contact sniper rifle. And this one is more of a assault gun. And how they would determine which one is which is one. And once they shoot the barrels, do the test in the barrels. The ones that pass the muster go and become VSS, and those who don't, those that don't become WAL.
Gotcha.
And again, it's one would say, oh, it's AK because it looks similar, with the selector and stuff here, but in reality, it's also totally different gun.
Right.
The way even the internals are different, where the bolt does not ride. It doesn't really have like a per se bolt. It's got the striker, and it rides above the receiver. The receiver only houses the trigger group.
Interesting.
Hey there, Leadhead Brigade. Lefty here with some important news for you. Forecasters from the University of Arizona warn that 2023 will be a very active hurricane season, and they're asking people to get prepared. They're expecting the number of major hurricanes this year to be similar to 2017, which saw the extremely intense and damaging hurricanes that we all heard about, Harvey, Irma, and that nasty old Maria. How bad can it get? Well, when Hurricane Ida hit the Gulf Coast, it destroyed countless homes and left many without access to food, clean water. Millions lost power. Most didn't have power for weeks. The floods that followed the hurricane washed out the roads, made it impossible for grocery stores to restock their shelves. Families were left hungry and desperate, waiting for help that was slow to arrive. But what if you didn't have to be reliant on the government, FEMA, your neighbor, grocery stores during these crises? The answer is simple. Be prepared with emergency food kits from 4 Patriots. Their long-lasting, delicious food options are specifically designed to provide you and your loved ones with the sustenance you need when you need it the most. 4 Patriots survival food kits are hand-packed in the USA. They last 25 years. They come packed inside covert storage totes. They include a wide variety of delicious breakfasts, lunches, dinners. They've even got some snacks that are tasty. And they're backed by thousands of 5-star customer reviews. Just go check out their website, 4patriots.com, and read them for yourself. 4 Patriots survival food is not just for natural disasters, because in today's world of uncertain supply chains and unpredictable emergencies, it's more important than ever to have a backup plan. Whether it's a temporary power outage, a winter blizzard, or rising food costs, which we're all feeling that these days, right? You can rest easy knowing that you have a reliable source of food to see you through it. And right now, you can go to 4patriots.com and use this exclusive code, LEADHEAD, all caps, LEADHEAD, one word, to get 10% off your first purchase on anything in the store, not just their food kits. So go check them out, 4patriots.com. Use the code LEADHEAD to get 10% off your first purchase of 4 Patriots survival food. That's 4patriots.com, guys. Use the code LEADHEAD and get that 10% off. All right, let's do this. Let's go to listener questions now. We've
favorite.
We've got some awesome prizes to give away. We're going to be giving away a Mission First Tactical dump tray with the AK Korner logo. So one lucky listener's going to get that. We're also going to be giving away Mission First Tactical drinkware. We might have the smoke bomb. We might have I don't know which version you're going to get, but you're going to get one of their new drinkware items, and then of course Seal One and Done. You're going to get one of their cleaning kits, complete gun care cleaning kit right here. Seal One and Done, CLP Plus. And then, of course, Paul, we just found out Paul is going to be giving away one of those the new Nick Orr books, A Pipe Hitter's Guide to Small Arms and Weapons. Just out on Amazon. Go get your copy today. And we'll see if we can't get it autographed, too, maybe, by Nick. So whoever gets that, we'll see if we can get that autographed. So thanks to Nick for putting that up and Paul for making it happen. So first question comes to us from Flood Munitions. He says, are the POSP scopes truly the best option for these platforms, or is it best to slap a modern long-range scope on it that we have available here stateside?
Who wants to take that one? You want me to? Or
sure, I think it's
I'm sure
it's going to be personal preference.
On that one.
Okay, so let me go first. And then,
Marco's going to say L-can. Use the L-can.
Well, hang on a second. It depends what goal are you pursuing. Okay, if you want to keep your gun original, PSO1, it's a full power fixed. It's it was light years ahead of when it first arrived, right? So light years ahead of anything that was on the market at the time. With technology-wise, with built-in BDC, with the range finding and stuff, it was like for a single operator was great scope. So if you want to, and you can still shoot well within the reason with this scope. Like I shot at our behind lines training. I shot at 800 meters at the LaRue tactical resetting targets, which is 18 by 21. Silhouettes with PSO1, no problem. My 14-year-old son outshot the Blackwater sniper team with my SVDS using a PSO1. So it's a capable scope, and if you want to keep your gun original and learn how to use it, then it's go for it. However, I wouldn't go crazy and put like a 26 power or even 12 power on this scope. I think on this gun, if you were going to go modern, I think 9 is probably the best for this gun. If you can find the scopes that have a 7.62 BDC built into them, even though it might be for 7.62 by 51, but like I said, it's 400, 600 yards is minimal deviation if you shoot that long. Obviously, Elcon is probably, it would be my preference if it was me. Well, I have it.
Told you.
And it's a great scope. I love it. Clear optics. It's flippable if you need to flip from 9 to 1 quick. If you need something like 3 power with wide field view, you put it on that, no screwing around or rotating anything. It's just flippable. And it's a clear optics, and I like the reticle because it's semi-transparent. And when you, when you put it, especially in like a, if you're shooting out and your reticle has a potential to cover the target or something, or portion of it, so you see right through the reticle. But there's cheaper options like Hilux is a pretty good 1-9 scope.
Primary Arms makes a good
Primary Arms
7.62 reticle. They got a couple of different options for optics when it comes to that.
You just have to be careful because to me the standard that comes with it is probably the best, only because when you go to a side mount, let's say a side mount that has a Picatinny or a 1913 rail, that rail will be right here on this plane. And then your rings and the scope are going to go on top of that. So now your optical offset with a regular scope usually sits about 2 inches, 1.5 to 2 inches high, depending on the mount. So to just say you want to throw a regular scope on it, you kind of have to do some research and make sure you find the lowest rings possible and the lowest mount possible. Otherwise, you're going to have a chin weld instead of a cheek weld, when you're shooting.
Good point, Jared. Good point.
Yep.
No doubt. I think the lowest one that you can find is made by Midwest Industries, SVD, special mount, and that rides right above the Picatinny rail, rides right above the
Warren.
the top cup.
Warren makes some Warren scope mounts. Makes some good ones also. WARNE Warren scope mounts.
Huh.
Yeah, they make some really good ones. I've got several of mine, my AKs that have the Warrens on them. Anyway, let's go to the next one. That's good answers. Glautru, what is the most realistic accuracy to expect out of a long-range caliber AK? Aside from reliability and cool factor, is there any reason to pick one over an AK-10 derivative or an AR-10 derivative? I mean, the Dragonov. You just showed them how accurate that damn thing is.
Well, but that's Dragonov. That's not the AK Sniper. I think the response to this question should be addressing PSLs and M76s, M91s. Jared, do you want to comment on PSL?
Sure.
Your experience?
There isn't much that I would take a PSL as a priority over an AR-10 variant. Personally, I don't see the huge advantage of a PSL over even just a $1,200 AR-10 that I can put the modularity, being able to put bipods, night vision, rails. The modularity is the lack of modularity is what holds back the PSL for me. So there's not a lot of instances unless I enjoy taking my PSL out, walking around the ranch and shooting hogs with it. It's fun for me. Would I want to take it on a mission or something over an AR-10 variant? No, I wouldn't. I've deployed with a PSL and I didn't love it, but it worked. I'm here. So what are your thoughts, Marco?
I probably agree with you. It's probably at this point, PSL gun or the M76 is more of like a fun gun to shoot and have fun with, hit stuff, just kind of like a sort of like a, pretend in your head that you're some guy named Sergey or something sitting somewhere and shooting. But as far as a modern appeal, I guess, yeah, it's hard to beat the AR-10 platform as far as like like you said, modularity and just the simplicity of operation, like just having the long Picatinny rail where you can put your scope and you can put your any kind of night vision attachments or thermals or something like this on the same platform. It's just, that's what the modern requirements are now for a gun. So no, like you said, and that's, you can get a pretty decent gun for AR-10 for, like you said, for about $1,200-$1,500. And the accuracy also, when you get the AR-10, then you got plethora of different type of loads that you can shoot out of that gun. Develop your own favorite shooting complex, the optics, the gun, and the ammo that you want to put through it.
All right, next question. Which of the DMRs would you pick if given a chance or given a choice. I inherited a Tigr. What are your opinions on that rifle?
First of all, congratulations on inheriting the Tigr.
Shep Guns asked this. Sorry.
Huh?
Shep Guns is the guy who asked this.
Okay. Well, congratulations, Shep Guns, on inheriting the Tigr, because they will never ever be brought back into the United States. So you're sitting on
gold,
$7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 gun maybe when you're ready to sell. Tigr is a hunting gun. Tigr, it was neutered SVD, so it has internals of SVD, but it's got a shorter barrel. It's got it doesn't have the full functioning, unless it's California Tigr, doesn't have full functioning gas adjustable system. But other than that, it's a very capable gun. With PSO1, it should be able to shoot about the same or perform the same ballistically as, let's say, SVDS. But it's, it's not a military gun per se, although it has military pedigree.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But which of the DMRs would you pick if given a choice out of all the DMRs? I guess. Of the
like
between
an SVD, a PSL, and a 76, you think?
Just any of the ones we talked about, COMBLOC kind of deals.
Yeah.
And then
my tongue does not work when somebody says DMR. DMR was a M16A2 with the 3-power cold scope mounted on the handle. On the carry handle.
Yeah.
Also known as the H-bar, cold H-bar. That's your DMR rifle.
Well, he said right? DMR, so let's just run with DMRs then.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of definitions to DMR, so I think we get what he's saying though.
But if I was gonna grab a COMBLOC sniper rifle, right?
Sure.
Obviously, I got two of them right here. So the SVD. I would not hesitate to go into a combat with the SVD or SVDS, preferably SVDS because it's just simply smaller and easier to carry and
more portable for you. Yeah.
Right. But performance-wise, because of the 26 or 27 specific changes they did to a gun to make it smaller, they actually accounted for keeping the ballistic characteristics the same as the long gun.
Nice. What about you, Jared?
I have no experience with the SVDS, but Marco has not steered me wrong yet. So I think I'll go with something I haven't used, and I'll go with an SVDS as well.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you for your trust.
Now, if we were opening it up to any sniper rifle outside of the COMBLOC, because you've got experience, obviously, Jared, with more of the American NATO weapons. So talk about maybe when you would go, if you would pick one over that.
We're talking about a semi-automatic, any semi-automatic precision type rifle.
Sure.
Is what you're saying?
Sure.
Honestly, it would be towards the area that I was operating in, to be completely honest. I love the AR-10s and stuff, but I'm also a big fan of the delayed roller systems and things like that. And I think in some of the like a G3 type DMR, MSG90 type system, for the most part, it would probably be some sort of AR-10 variant is what I would probably end up taking. But I love, G3s, especially accurized G3s and things like that. So it just kind of would depend.
Okay.
Depend on where I was at.
You can take the European out of Europe, but you could never take the Europe out of European.
That's right.
That's what they
right.
say.
I know.
All right. 47.
Go ahead.
47 Cavalry says the SVDK 6V9 was experimental. We talked about this a little bit. Chambered in the 9.3 by 6.4 Bernicki. What are possible reasons to use, not use this particular cartridge, or try out other Magnum cartridges? Long-time listener, first-time poster of question, comment. Keep up the great content. Well, thanks for finally jumping in, 47 Cavalry.
Two words. Brown bear. That's the only use for that freaking gun.
That's what they used it for. Huh?
Hunting bears. And even then, I mean, that thing is too long, overkill on the design of everything. It's just
not practical.
It's a bear gun. Maybe elephants somewhere in Zimbabwe or something.
So Stream Fisher 1981 asks this. I don't know if you know this or not. How many of the Russian Tigers were imported? I love my 1993 B West import. Oh,
you got the B West. The one that with all the nice features and stuff. Not many. That's why they demand the prices that they demand every time they come up for sale in the gun broker.
You say a couple of thousand maybe, or if that many?
Hard to tell. Probably.
Yeah.
But for some reason, that stupid idiot by name Chernomyrdin and another stooge named Gore did not include him in that voluntary armament restriction list.
Yeah.
And what's the difference between that and a Sega? It shoots a little bigger cartridge.
Yeah. Nikolai Abplanap. Being a huge fan of the 54R cartridge, my original Mosin PU Sniper being my favorite bolt gun, why don't we see more rifles chambered in it by U.S. manufacturers? It's only the longest-serving military cartridge still in use, if I'm not mistaken.
He is right that it is, but maybe Jared has a good answer for it. But
NATO? Is that it?
My personal experience or my NATO. Personal, opinion would be that the more maybe U.S. ammunition manufacturers need to get on board with making brass-cased 7.62x54R, and it's just not a priority in their eyes when they can't make 6.5 Creedmoor fast enough. So I don't know. Maybe that might have something to do with it. Market-driven,
right? Yeah. So demand. Years ago, Hornady made their 7.62x54R match load. And the VMAX bullet, I think, and it was in the steel case, which they bought out of Russia.
Yeah.
But I think you're absolutely right. I think it's the market-driven. There are a lot more guns that shoot in, 243 or 6.5 or something like that than 7.62x54 at this point, I think. And we also had the time of milk and honey when Russia was bringing up upwards of 100 containers a month of all kinds of ammunition from Tula and Barnaul and stuff, and a good portion of it was 7.62x54R. And prior to that, Ukraine, Bulgaria, you name it, were bringing the surplus stuff. So, I don't know. I think it's the market-driven decision.
I agree.
Okay. This is kind of a in-depth question here. So, pillow pants. I have a question for Marco and anyone who has any input on the subject. I've heard several reports from troops working in Central Europe along the NATO border coming across men with NATO caliber AKs with the newest Russian special operations equipment. However, according to Russian officials, these men were not Russian soldiers. Anyways, it was speculated that these groups were using NATO calibers due to ammunition being much easier to find when wandering across NATO border, as well as NATO casings, raising less suspicion. Being that Russia produced several rifles in 308, do you or anyone you know have any inside knowledge of special use cases with that particular setup? If so, I'd love to hear it, even if you have to be vague. Wink.
All right.
Anyone?
AK-101, I believe,
One of is the new one. They have
one of the one that's chambered in 5.56 was a commercial project. Was not ordered by Ministry of Defense. So is any of the 100 series other than the AK-74M. It just so happened that like anti-terrorist units like the use of 7.62x39 due to its suppression ability. And so the AK-103 and AK-104 became, they got some numbers of those guns in their possession. However, on a large-scale production of AKs and 5.56 in Russia never happened. However, they built a plant in Indonesia to specifically manufacture those 101s and 102s or whatever, and 5.56. There's no warfare going on where it warrants some diversionary sabotage groups going behind enemy lines. Right now, in the dumbassery that's going on in Ukraine, both sides go in between, behind each other's lines, and some of the special operations Ukrainian forces are armed with the M4s, obviously because the U.S. supplying them, because they can't get the ammo supply of 5.45 ammunition. And I'm pretty sure that the Russians are using the whole spectrum that's available to them, and it would be 9x39, 7.62x39 with suppressors or silencers, 5.45 widely and mainly used. And then there's rifles that they use in 308. And produced or sourced, locally produced ammunition, which Tula produces, and Barnaul produces 308. And as far as the accuracy is concerned, somehow it's gray marketed through European or even the U.S. sources. And but that's not widely used, and not for the purposes of throw somebody's off their scent, so to speak, because that kind of warfare is not warranted at this point. And so that's about it. I mean, they use a lot of things like weird calibers. They use 338 Lapua. The Russians do. I'm sure the Ukraine does. They use what is it? Something Chitak or whatever.
Chi-Tak.
Chi-Tak, large caliber. Whatever, I forgot the millimeter designation of it. Widely used 12 by 12.7 by on the Ukrainian side is by 99, which is the 50 BMG, and the Russians use theirs, and the cord rifles and the cord machine guns, which is 12.7 by 108. By the way, a side note, the NATO 50 caliber rounds achieved its potential. It no longer can be modified to make it more accurate or develop it further for accuracy purposes. Whereas the Russian 12.7 has all the potential in the world become extremely accurate round. And that's not me talking, it's talking British engineer that spent 16 years working for Ministry of Defense in England. Now he works for H&K here in Smyrna, Georgia.
Smyrna. I like the way you say that. Smyrna. What about you, Jared? You got any input on that? No insights?
My guess would be AK-12. I don't know. They make different calibers. I don't know all the conspiracy stuff on the border.
They make two main characters, which, AK-12 is AK-12, and there's AK-15 and 7.62. But AK-12 is 5.5 gun.
Yeah.
But if they were going to use, let's say a 5.56, they captured so many, captured guns, and almost like every unit, look at the pictures and stuff, and I'm kind of looking at them every day, and they'll be over there with the, with the M4s or some kind of completely decked out AR gun. Like if you take a Ahmad Special Forces, there's one of the commanders there is Abti Aluidinov. His personal guard is carrying AR guns. Obviously, the Wagner group, when they were clearing the Bakhmut area, a lot of the guys, like on the command level, carried the captured M4s. But it's more like a I have it and you don't type of deal, and I'm better than you because of that type of deal. Or I shot that guy and I got his gun type of deal. Mm-hmm. But it's not official doctrine or adopted by any of the units as an official weapon.
Gotcha. Let's see. Another question here. Or is this just a statement? Midwest Savage. I wish I had one. Not a question, just a comment.
Okay. Me too.
Let's see. We talked about that J. Edgar paradox. Who did clones of the SVD and how did they do? We talked about that. Slug Nutty, will we ever get Brian Keeney from Aqua Defense Solutions back? Please. He was on 2 episodes ago when we had Brad Thor, the author Brad Thor, on. He was on that episode. So if you want to get your fix of Brian, go back to that episode and check it out. It was a really, really good episode about Brad Thor's new book. Let's see. I don't know if maybe because we got an American sniper and we got a Soviet sniper here, this question might be fun. John Adams III asked, how did the use of Soviet snipers differ from that of the United States? I guess the philosophy of using the sniper in combat is maybe what he's asking. But did you have 2 different philosophies or not?
Yeah, I think like Marco stated earlier, where the Russians would have 1 sniper in a platoon of infantry, we have a platoon of snipers in an infantry battalion, and so we would operate in usually 4-man teams. And so each 4-man team was designated to either a boat company, a track company, a helo company, or a weapons company, and we were their attachments for that. So generally, we would go out in 4-man sniper teams.
What would they be armed with? Bolt guns or?
Two would have bolt guns and handguns, maybe an M16, depending. One would have one may have a 50 cal, a Barrett 50 cal, maybe, depending on the mission. And the others would have usually some sort of like M203, M16, M2 grenade launcher capability with all of our, even back when I was in, before the Marine Corps went to ACOG sights on all their guns, we had fixed 4-power and the shitty Colt 3-power as well. But all of our M16s had some sort of optical sight on them as well.
Okay. Well, it sounds to me like it was a fire support mission group, like it would set behind the unit, maybe providing the support, attacking the high-value targets, like maybe a cruiser weapons or something like that? Or was it designated mission, like go and take something out?
It would depend. Obviously, it depends on the mission, right? If we're most of the time, a sniper unit is not being deployed to take out a physical target like an HVT type of thing. Most of the time, it's an overwatch, surveillance, counter IED, machine gun positions, artillery positions, all that stuff. But a lot of the sniper mission is reconnaissance and surveillance more than it is going out and just dumping a dude that, the intel section wanted.
It's actually a good point you brought up, because the observe and report probably the main mission for universally for any kind of sniper. But okay, mine, I cannot speak for regular infantry, right? Even from the airborne point of view, or although I'm familiar with their tactics, but we were a small unit. We had 27 people in our unit, and we would deploy as a unit up every time. And we had a mission within that unit. The snipers had the mission, so we didn't have let's say a support team or anything behind. We would often be part of the fire support team, which would be with the grenade launcher operators as well as the machine gunners, set back behind a main infantry, main unit, the assault unit, fire group and stuff, and ambushes and whatnot. We would provide overwatch if we would be assaulting the strongholds and things like that. But I carried, I had a radio. I would stay in direct communication with a group, a leader, and it's kind of like the three basic missions is observe and report, overwatch over assault group to assault the strongholds, and in ambush we provide fire support.
Right.
So like take out the point guard after they pass the kill zone, and then take out like I said, like a machine guns,
right,
any kind of grenade launcher operators that will pop out and try to aim a carrot at us, and
that's it differentiates between green side, or what we call green side, and black side mission. So black side mission would be urban, and a lot of that time we would be in civilian clothes and not designated in a uniform, and everything was very covert, and we were trying to blend in as best we could with host nation partisans and things like that. Green side, totally different.
Yeah, we didn't do any of that. We were always uniformed. We were a force on force type of deal, so that's, I can only speak from my experience. I can't say what the other people were doing.
No, that's all you can speak to.
Squirrels out there doing shit. Sometimes you kind of like,
I think it all entangles into the same thing. The Russians, the Americans, the Brits, the Aussies. It's a sniper mission. Nobody's really doing anything completely different than the other.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, it's sort of like a tool in your tool bag, right? It could be Crossman or DeWalt or whatever, Milwaukee or God only knows what, but it performs the same thing.
Yeah.
And one can argue, why Milwaukee does this? It's better. And I'm like, have you seen my whatever?
All right,
DeWalt.
Next question. I think you guys thoroughly answered that. Come out and play. Is there any hope on the horizon for a statewide manufacturer dipping into long-range COMBLOC rifles, or even just supplying ammo?
Yes.
One word to me. I don't know of anything.
I'm working on something that I might be bringing more fags in. Those fags that made the splash a few months ago, the Hungarian SVDs.
Yeah?
Yeah, I just put in the Form 6 for them today. So we might be bringing those things.
We'll keep in touch with Marco after this.
Absolutely.
And then there's a possibility of me getting the main components, like a kit's newly manufactured, minus the barrel and minus the bolt itself. So I need to find the stateside manufacturer. Well, the barrels is easy, but the bolt manufacturers, I need to find someone to produce that. And it's quite possible that we can produce stateside or US-made SVDs. Well, most of the components will be made elsewhere in a particular country that starts with T and ends with Y, or maybe IE, but it rhymes with Turkey.
Doesn't know if they're Muslim or Indian, that they're still confused.
It rhymes with Turkey. They make good shotguns.
We would put them together here.
Okay.
but this is something that.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
To invest in this, if anybody wants to invest in this, I would welcome.
If they could get in touch with you, they probably would.
All right. Well, whatever. I mean,
hit me up and I can get you in touch with Marco.
Yep.
All right. Next question. PPRN. Do they make extended magazines for guns like the Dragonov and/or large frame AKs? I need all the pews I can get.
Have you seen one, Jared? I never seen that.
If there was one, I wouldn't trust it.
Yeah.
I agree. It's sort of like that Calamity with the 60 round magazine. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
Yeah, I want mine.
For the Dragonov, yeah.
I know that AVT-36, which is automatic, AVS Simonov, automatic rifle Simonov 36, that had a 20-round magazine, but it was gun specific, and it was a fully automatic freaking rifle. It's like picture a rifle being fully automatic, and it didn't work well. So the Russians didn't really produce many of them, and very few were used in any kind of fighting.
Yeah. All right. 9-3 tactical. Who do I have to shank to get a range day with Marco and a Dragonov?
I mean, come to Ann Arbor, Michigan. I'll be glad to accommodate.
There you go, 9-3 tactical. I think that's pretty much all of them. Bobus 1776. How does the Al-Kadesh compare to the Russian-made Dragonov? Is it on par or substandard? I don't think we talked a whole bunch about the comparative of the two, but I would think there's no comparison, huh? Get a Dragonov. Unless you get the gold-plated Al-Kadesh, then that's a great...
No, Al-Kadesiah gun is rare, and it definitely has appeal as a collector's item, something that you would whip out in front of your friends and say, hey, you all, check out this thing I got. But as far as like a functioning and stuff, I think the Iraqi army had more Dragonovs than they had the Al-Kadesiahs.
Yeah. All right, last question. Mustang Perry, what is the best bang for the buck on a long-range AK? Which one has the best features authenticity?
So we disqualify the SVD because the question is AK.
Right.
What do you think, Jared?
Long-range AK.
Well,
the question was, like, what's the bang for the buck? The best bang for the buck.
Basically, yeah, a good quality long-range AK that's not expensive.
I don't know if, I mean, let's just say less than $2,500. It would have to be, right? I mean, to get anything that, yeah, nothing jumps out at me with those little variables in there.
And
long range.
And again, long range is subjective for some people too, so.
Right, there's two guns that kind of jumped at me. One of them, of course, the newly brought in or introduced by Zastava M91. That's one, and the other one is the mullet. If you know the Viper.
Yeah, but that's, I guess, what can the best bang for the buck is what threw me off there, because both of those are pretty pricey, aren't they?
I think they within $2,500 maybe.
Yeah. So there you go. Marco would definitely. I'm not familiar with the
Vipers.
No, the Vipers I am. What was the first one you?
The new Zastava, the new Serbian M91.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one.
It's basically a new take on a M76, except it's not milled receiver, it's stamped receiver, and I think it's in 308 instead of or 7.62 by 54R. So that's where I don't. But they available if right now. But they are pricey, and to me, from where I'm sitting, I'm not willing to pay that much money for it.
Yeah.
But it's the cheapest. Another way to go maybe is finding the PSL kit and then having a gunsmith put one together and like I think NoDoc makes those receivers or somebody else makes receivers. PSL receivers.
No DAC probably doesn't, huh?
And then have somebody put it together, the reputable gunsmith put it together. I think that might be the one way to get into the COMBLOC.
Either way, it's not going to be cheap.
No, it ain't. Not anymore. It's not.
Yeah.
I think I read all of it. Pool operator. If you had a choice to have the Galil Ace in 308 or a PSL, which would you take?
The Galil Ace. Me personally.
And yeah, Galil. I love.
I think we kind of like covered that earlier, right? With the modern 308 gun.
You know why I had a PSL on some of my deployments? Because that was given to me and it was the only thing available. So I don't want to diss the PSL because I do like it, but for life and death situations, I'm pretty much looking for different options.
In Russia, there's a saying like, when the fish doesn't bite, even the crawdads are fish. You know, like the crayfish, crawdads. So, you know, I mean, yeah, if you don't have anything else, yeah, you grab that. But if you had the choice, you know, you go for a modern platform every time.
Yeah.
All right, Beard Farmer 1. Has anyone ever made a good 5.56 AK?
Well, I mean, that commercial 100 series, you know, Izhmash made those in the early 90s and through the 90s and tried to peddle them and stuff to NATO countries. That was pretty solid platform. I believe that the KUSA, their latest offering is
they have
AK
a
101.
5.56. Yeah, they've got a 5.56.
In 5.56.
What about Pioneer Arms? They make a 5.56 now.
They do. They do. And I do care. What's wrong with me? I'm a terrible salesperson.
Yeah, you are.
But yeah, they do. It's a pretty decent gun. The biggest problem we encountered was the magazines.
Yeah.
Very few and far in between. We can't, you know, the gun comes, usually our 7.62 guns come with 2. This one comes with 1. But you can have them in underfolder, wood, plastic, either way. But
do you have to use, does it have its own specific 5.56 mag, or could you use?
No, anyone, like a Polish Tantal.
Yeah. The KUSA.
Not Tantal, the barrel. Yeah, any
okay.
223 or 5.56 magazines will go.
Yeah, I really liked them when you guys we featured them at was it NRA or SHOT Show? We featured them. NRA. I really thought they were nice. I mean, obviously to get to shoot it, but you know, just handling it, and taking it apart, and looking at it and everything. I mean, it looked really solid.
Yeah, I run like AK Academy over here at the Ann Arbor Arms French. You know, 3-level classes like fundamentals, intermediate, and the advanced. And I have a fleet of these guns that I lend if people, you know, the key is you don't have to have a gun to take my class. I'll bring a gun for you. And we've been running them since April. Not a single malfunction. Nothing. Not mispaid, not belly to eject.
Volumes
anything.
right there, yeah.
And that's the thing, like, this is just my opinion, right? I know that there's great 5.56 AKs. To me, a 5.56 AK is as appealing as a 7.62 by 39 AR-15. Like to me,
I wasn't going to go there, but he was specifically asking, AK
I know,
556.
I have to applaud to that one.
To me, it's just like it's not right.
Yeah.
It's like why? You're trying to pull another Russian saying. You're trying to stretch the owl over the globe. Like one of those spinning globes. It's like why? Although a rare occasion where sort of match made in heaven would be a 9x39 AR. That lends itself perfectly.
7.62 by 25 AR. Let's do it.
I never came across that one, but interesting.
All right, let's give
Good
some shit
coverage,
away,
I like
guys. Let's give shit away. So we got
All right.
22.
What's the biggest and the best one?
Well, I mean, I guess it's probably subjective. So we've got the book, we've got the SEAL 1, we've got the Mission First Tactical Leadies drinkware, and then we've got the Mission First Tactical dump tray with the AK Corner logo there. So let's start off with...
Jared, any opinion?
Huh?
I took some notes down that...
Okay.
Oh shit! Was I supposed to be taking notes too?
No. No.
Let me rattle one for you. Like, for example, for a book,
Okay.
I like the very first question about modern optics.
Okay.
Would you say it was a good one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had a lot of good conversation. So that's Flood Munitions. So that's Evan. And so Evan, email me, talkinglead@gmail.com. You get Nicholas Orr's new book, The Pipe Hitter's Guide to Small Arms and Warfare, something like that. Hold on. I got it right here. Pipe Hitter's Guide to Small Arms and Weapons. There you go. Fresh out on Amazon. Go check it out. Nicholas Orr. Thanks to Paul for arranging that for us to give away. All right, next one.
What's the next high value?
Let's give this drinkware away.
I think we had
I've got a whole bunch of them.
It was
I got a whole bunch of them back.
Oh yeah, look at that.
All different shapes and sizes.
A question that sparked really interesting discussion with Jared and me, and then we're coming to the same denominator at the end. It was different sniper philosophies and stuff.
Okay.
I think that was pretty good question.
Yeah, that was a good question.
Let's go look this up. That is. I'm trying to find it.
I think it was like the difference between U.S. and Russian snipers or something like that. Was the question, I think.
Here it is. No, this is what's the difference between a Dragonov and the U.S. equivalent? We didn't answer. While I'm looking for it, you guys answer this. What are the key differences between the Soviet Dragonov and its equivalent U.S. 308 sniper rifle? Jerry Black.
Well, go ahead, Jared.
Well, I think let's just say the SR-25 or the M110 is what we're talking about on the U.S. semi-automatic side. I mean, I would have to, in fairness, compare it to an SVD-M or a current model SVD, because I have a lot of respect for the SVD platform. So to compare it to a M110 to a gun made in 1963 isn't really the fairest, but I just think the modularity, the ease of reloading, the suppressor capability, everything's just a little bit easier to me on the American versions. Do I want to run out on a mission with a suppressed SVD that's tricked out? Fuck yeah, sign me up. I would love to do that. But I think at the end of the day, the U.S. models are still getting the accuracy and modularity capabilities over the SVDs.
I would agree with you on the modularity and potential accuracy. I would also agree on SVD-M and SVCH, which is the new gun based on SVD, which offers you, 15 feet of Picatinny and shit. But no, I mean, seriously, the full length,
Yeah.
so you can use all kinds of components on it. I mean, the modularity on a sniper rifle really boils down to bipod and the variety of optical implements and stuff, or sighting implements. No flashlights, no packs, none of that shit, right?
Yeah, I think one of the main things about the AR or the SR-25 system is that I could, in theory, have a red dot with a 12-inch barrel 308 upper on my lower, and if I wanted to, I could have an 18 or a 20-inch upper receiver with a magnified optic and put it on there and go and have, you know, 2 weapon systems for the missions.
It would be changing not just the mission; it would be changing the how that particular individual would be deployed as an infantryman, an assault man, or a sniper guy. So in that case, I'll just grab my AK-74 and my dugout, right, instead of the SVD. I'm thinking that that particular, like, a AR-10 based platform was pulled into the sniping rather than was designed as a sniper rifle.
The SVD absolutely has that over everything, for sure.
So,
The reason it was designed, which I think I kind of touched on when you weren't here, not that you don't know it, but we went into, like, my appreciation for the SVD is that it was the first rifle, semi-automatic military sniper rifle, designed specifically to do that mission.
Yeah, I'm just gonna hold it like this for you, Jared.
All right, so the guy who asked the question about the snipers, the difference between the Soviet and the United States sniper, that was John Adams III. So John Adams III. You have won the drinkware from Mission First Tactical. Shoot me your contact info, and we will get you that. So here's what I'm going to do on the next 2. So the SEAL 1, and this is my opinion, this is the best prize there is the SEAL 1.
It is pretty good.
I'm going to go to the guy who's his long-time listener, first-time caller. And that was 47 Cavalry. 47_Cavalry. You are the winner of the SEAL 1 Complete Gun Care Kit, CLP Plus. Email me, talkinglead@gmail.com. I'll need your contact info, shipping info, to send that to you. And then for the tray, we're going to go, I think I saw another kind of a new participant here. Stream Fisher 1981. I don't think I've seen your name before. So Stream Fisher 1981, you win the dump tray from Mission First Tactical. So shoot me an email, talkinglead@gmail.com. All the winners. I need your contact info, shipping address, that kind of stuff in order for you to get your prizes. Stream Fisher 1981 asked how many of the Russian Tigers were imported. I love my 1993 B West import. That's the question he had.
A brag much?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
brag
get it.
much.
Going to Tigr. Congratulations.
Yeah. So as you take it apart and work on it, you can use that dump tray as your parts tray. So
I use it every day, by the way.
Yeah? Do you need another one? I can send you another one if you need it.
Well, I'll give it to my son. You met him, right, Brendan?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll send you another one. Now you seen Jared. Jared, I got some stuff coming for you too, so
Likewise.
be on the lookout. It hasn't shipped yet, but it's coming. Yeah, I think that was everybody. So thanks to everybody who participated. Appreciate all your questions as we do each and every month for the AK Corner. This has been a really good show, very informative. I know it could have been a lot more. We could have gone a lot deeper with Marco. Sometimes he goes real deep into the woods.
I know, and it sounded like a criticism, and I
It is
agree.
not a criticism. It is a regret that we couldn't do this for like 6 hours, because I would love to, and I know our listeners would love to hear it, but that gives us more to talk about on the next episodes. So
That's true.
we don't want to completely drain your wealth of knowledge in one episode. So greatly appreciate Jared coming back for the second time. So Jared, thank you for being on. And
Nice meeting you, Jared, too.
Very nice to meet you, Marco.
like I said,
sir.
go back to our previous episode. Jared was on that. We talked about the blades that he makes, STA Blades. I don't think Marco heard that. We'll talk off air, Marco. I'll introduce you to him and talk about his blades. And then, of course, Marco Vorobiev, his books on Amazon. You go to Amazon to get his books, and he's got a lot of other things in the works, but we just don't know how to go look at it or order it from him. So
just let him get a hold of you, and then you
ammo,
can put
silencers, guns.
Oh yeah, silencers. We finally got our second. So we had the hammer, right? We featured it in the last episode, and now we finally got the sickle, which is a shorter and slightly thicker. But as far as like
it's all about the
DBs are
girth.
concerned, it's about the same as the other one, and they awesome. They just, I mean, they so quiet.
Did you get my email with you and Art?
There's one in the works. It's going to go to the Royal Range.
Okay. Just let me know when that, so I can keep an eye out, so I know to look.
Yeah, I will.
I also want to get one of those 5.56 AKs, so keep that in mind.
Okay.
Put me down for a 7.62 by 39 AR.
AR. I built one. I got one built.
I love the magazines for those. You know, like
oh,
they look like a boomerang.
Yeah, exactly, like 90 degree or something.
Yeah.
There you go. Look at that.
that's a smart.
You know, I guess the best thing for that platform would be if you would accept the AK mags.
Yeah.
You know, like I think who was it? The Rock River made one.
Palmetto State Armory makes one.
I used to work for
It takes
HK,
AK mags. I'm just saying.
and when HK first made the 417, do you know what magazine it took?
Which one?
It took a G3 magazine.
Oh, really? Yeah, there you go.
It was awesome, but then they changed it to a proprietary, polymer. You had a G3 mag. Every continent on the world has G3 magazines on it somewhere.
Stacks of
CMMG makes the Mutant. That takes AK mags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a good one.
It was like a dream of mine to have an AR and 505 that would take the AK-74 mags. But I think there are better guns than that out there.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
all right, guys, that does it for this episode or this month's AK Corner. Make sure you tune in each and every month. Go back, listen to the past episodes if you haven't caught those yet. Wealth of information over the past 5 years of the AK Corner, and more to come. So next month, Marco, do you want to pick the topic again, or?
Well, we were going to talk about the smooth bore, like shotguns.
Yeah.
But I think you already had an episode.
We could do another one.
Yeah, because there's a few actually players in the market.
Yeah.
That came in with new product and stuff.
Yeah.
And
we
can do the show and tell here as well.
Yeah. So we'll plan on doing that, and then we've also got the AK versus AR annual battle episode coming up.
I got to train for that one. I got to go in the training camp for that one.
We'll
lose a few pounds, get my movement back.
So I've been talking to Dooley over at the AR-15 podcast. He's usually the captain of the AR team, and what we're talking about doing, Marco, is we're gonna rent a range maybe next year, and we're gonna have Team AK versus Team AR, and we're gonna do like a competition relay with Team AK versus Team AR, and do something like that, and we'll live stream the show and the pitfall of
have
those
prizes. Arguments, by the way, so you know, and that needs to be addressed in the beginning.
What's that?
It's comparing apples to apples and oranges to oranges, not freaking crisscross.
No.
Comparing a 24 inch barreled M16A4 to 16-inch barrel AK or AKM or something. You might as well be comparing it to.
No, we'll have apples to apples.
pistol.
So we'll have just like a stripped down bare minimum AR, AK, and then for one of our competitions they'll be tricked out. Like trick it out as
like
best as you can.
Open division and the stock division. Okay.
Yeah, but we'll have certain.
I already know who.
Like
you
Top
should
Shot.
invite from the AK.
We'll have different skills. Oh, we lost Jared. Jared timed out on us. But anyway, guys, that's coming up. I guess we'll do the smoothbore next month. We'll get that set up, prepared. And until then, lead heads, I want to see those emails coming in, see your suggestions for guests, topics for the AK Corner. Not only the AK Corner, but our regular show too. Make sure you tune in for that each and every week. The Talking Lead AK Corner each and every month. So Marco, again, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And lead heads, we will see you next month on the AK Corner.
All right.